And hello everybody, Sonic fans, Sonic nerds, and Sonic geeks alike. Welcome to yet another movie discussion talking about more Sonic goodness with Sonic the Hedgehog 2, the movie. So as always, I am Ryan, also known as Supersonic 407. Along with BJ, Brofan1, Danny, RoushutsuRises, and our always amazing special guest, Brian, RealmwarssII, here on SpiffyNeedleGeeks. Yes, we are talking about Sonic the Hedgehog 2, the movie. And, oh my god. Okay, can I just say this before we get right into the nitty-gritty of this? Am I the only one who actually finds it really weird that literally, like, the last big thing to happen since, well, everything, like, went downhill, you know, with the virus and such was the first Sonic the Hedgehog movie? Is that weird?
That's what happened with me, because, because the last movie that I saw in theaters before I moved from Georgia to Ohio was the first Sonic film. And I remembered because when I moved to Ohio, literally 2 weeks later, quarantine. And I know the theaters have been open for some time now, but I've been really hesitant about wanting to go back because, my parents loved going to the movies when, before everything went down. Like, they were going to the movies, like, damn near every weekend. I like going to the theaters a lot, but we've all been kind of hesitant to go back. But when it came to Sonic 2, I'm like, I gotta bite the bullet. It's like these theaters have been open for some time now. If anything happened, I would like to think by now they've got their shit together. So yeah, I'm gonna brave the theaters, and as far as I'm aware of, I am okay. I saw Sonic 1 before quarantine, and Sonic 2 is the first movie that I saw post quarantine. So it's like we kind of go full circle.
Yeah, literally the first Sonic the Hedgehog movie was literally the last movie I ever saw in theaters before the virus kicked in. And now it's like, oh yeah, but over 2 years later, what's the next movie I see in theaters? Oh yeah, Sonic the Hedgehog 2. Who would have thought?
I'm just happy to have finally seen them 2 years later.
Better late than never.
Literally better late than never, my dude. It's all good.
I'm just not much of a moviegoer anymore. Like,
that's fair. Honestly, even though I went out of my way to see the first Sonic the Hedgehog movie, like the only time like I would ever go out of my way to see a movie or whatever is if it's something that I'm actually into, like obviously Sonic, or if I'm like watching like some movie, like we're going out to the theaters like with my family or something. But that's literally it. But I mean, I will say, my overall experience at the theater, like I don't know how it is on your guys' end, but I do know like things actually seem like for the most part they have simmered down for the most part, like much like the first Sonic movie. I saw the second movie twice, of course, like literally back to back.
So did my sister Sophia. She saw it first with her friends, and then she wanted to see it again. So she came with me when I went to go see it.
That's sweet. I think like the second time I saw the movie was like it wasn't just because this movie was like a huge step up compared to the first movie, but at that point it's like, okay, if they're gonna they threw in so many freaking Easter eggs in the first movie, what Easter eggs have I missed, like over the course of Sonic 2? Okay, anyway, let's talk about Sonic the Hedgehog 2. Let's see. So, Sonic the Hedgehog 2, it takes place, well, I wouldn't say, I guess in a way, literally right after the events of the first movie, except not really, because
a little less than a year, I think.
Yeah, almost a year, because I remember.
Yeah, almost a year. We're talking
just something days with Robotnik being on the Mushroom Planet.
Yeah,
because he was literally doing like a captain's log thing, talking about what he was doing on the Mushroom Planet, and it was like 200 something days. So almost
243 days. I would like to say.
Mans did not make it back by Christmas.
Yeah, sorry.
really, I know.
You did not make it by Christmas. You did not make it by several Christmases, my dude.
I can't believe it. He missed Jesus' birthday twice.
Oh wait, no. If it was only 200 something days, it would have only been one Christmas.
You missed the joke.
What? Wait, what?
Yeah, several years on our end.
Oh, okay, gotcha.
There we go.
Yeah. Okay, that one went over my head. Gotcha.
No, you're good. But yeah, suffice it to say, like, even though Robotnik has been stranded still on the Mushroom Planet, in a matter of speaking, he has, for the most part, grown accustomed to the planet. As far as we know, like, his only form of like sustenance, with living on the planet is having, I guess, this mushroom coffee. Or something, or something of the sort.
He was just trying to figure out how to make coffee from mushrooms and like spitting it out every single time.
But
and suffice it to say, he's definitely donning on more of the iconic Eggman look. I mean, with the exception of the rotund egg-like body. But he's got the bald head, he's got the mustache, he's got the goggles. I mean, he's almost like, that's probably about as close as we can get to Jim Carrey looking like Eggman, without him either wearing a fat suit or just gaining a fuck ton of weight, which is really unhealthy.
I suppose in context, it actually wouldn't make much sense for Robotnik to have gained a lot of weight while on a planet covered in mushrooms.
Yes.
Like, if you went to a planet covered in, like, sugar, then okay, sure, okay, fair enough. But no,
Sweet Mountain.
I don't think you're gonna get fat off mushrooms. So.
Yeah, mushrooms are really healthy for you, don't you know?
Right. And like, pretty much, like, right off the bat, you can see, like, Eggman, this is a very different Eggman from the first movie, because, like, in the first movie, don't get me wrong, he had a lot of funny lines, but he was a lot more like, sure of himself. I'm better than everybody else because I'm so smart. This time around, no, Eggman has very much lost his mind. I mean, you see, like, from the beginning, like, where he sets up the machine to make the mushroom coffee, and he's doing the captain's log, and, like, even just how he talks throughout the film and stuff. I mean, no, he's insane. So this is... a very different take on the character, which again makes sense considering he was stranded on a mushroom planet by himself. So it makes sense.
And he had Agent Stone.
Yeah, well, that's a different matter.
Do you think they named that character Agent Stone solely to make that joke?
Could be.
I mean, I wouldn't put it past me if that was the case.
But it's like, so like you get like that glimpse of Eggman already being crazy within the first 5 minutes, and then shit goes down.
Yeah.
It ultimately leads to Eggman creating some kind of beacon, like some kind of like SOS signal, using the quill that he got that Sonic dropped in the first movie as to power it. Which I kind of want to bring up a couple of points regarding that quill. We know Eggman would have brought that with him, since that the quill was what powered that machine at the end of the first movie.
Yeah.
What I'm curious about, and this kind of gets into something that I noticed as I was watching the entire movie, was that there were numerous occasions where I noticed like little things that like weren't really enough to like derate me from the entire movie, but they were just little tiny things that I noticed. Like one thing, for example, when Eggman powered the machine with the quill, he powered it using like two what are they called, like the clamps.
Cables.
Yeah. Both ends of the quill were in those clamps, but then after he got blown off of it, the quill was just in his hand. Again, little tiny nitpick things. And I guess one other thing that I did notice as well, after the end of like this first opening scene, we never see that quill again.
Yeah, some call me Johnny brought that up. Like literally like the quill, the entire point of the quill is just to set up this like SOS beacon, and then after that, it's just fucking gone.
I suppose in context it makes sense why, like, because I could, who knows where it actually is at this point.
Well,
I suppose it also makes sense why Eggman probably lost interest in it based on what he finds out later.
Yeah, I mean, it's, because, like, considering what we're going after in this movie, it's like, what's the point of the quill anymore at this point? So that's where it's less like, okay, it served its purpose.
I did have one idea for the quill, but I'll save that for later.
But ultimately, it was like, they set up the beacon, and it sets up, you see, like, the little portal, like, the ring portal, and out pops these guys, like, I don't know, I couldn't tell, like, I mean, they were definitely bird-like, but I really couldn't tell, like, were they meant to be, like, humans that were just, like, dawning on the bird personas, or are they part of the Longclaw tribe? I mean, like,
no, because I don't think they are, because I recall, what I do know is I haven't read it myself, but there was a prequel comic to this movie that did explain a couple of things.
Yes.
And one thing that was explained actually was that this those guys are some kind of bounty hunter. Whatever their species are, I'm not really sure. But they're not echidnas, obviously, and I don't think they're owls either. They're just some random alien species. And apparently, from what I can gather, they were, I guess they like abducted Knuckles originally, and they I think they tried putting him into some kind of like gladiator situation, but Knuckles proved to be too strong, and ended up kind of just tagging along with their band, like on his mission. So that's why Knuckles was there with him at all.
Yeah, that makes sense. Because it's like, these guys show up, and then Knuckles shows up, and that's why, my first thought was because you find out later in the movie, like, there's this whole rivalry between these two clans, like the Echidna tribe and then the tribe that Longclaw from the first movie was from. And that's why I was just like, is that what this is supposed to be? Like, it's a feud that's still ongoing, and like, the beacon just happened to show up in front of Knuckles, so it was just really fortunate luck. Like that's where I was getting confused. I didn't even know there was a prequel comic.
Yeah, like it explains a couple of things. I will say though, I did very much enjoy Eggman completely like destroying those bounty hunters. Like,
considering like just how he was pretty much like adapting in more ways than one with the Mushroom Planet. Yeah, he literally like concocted like all of these booby traps, like just in case if anybody got the distress signal and came to his aid. And of course, in Robotnik fashion, the booby traps worked flawlessly. And once those three bounty hunters were basically taken out by the traps, Eggman tries to make a dash for the ring portal, and then out comes Knuckles. Meanwhile, all the while, Knuckles notices the quill in Robotnik's hand, and that's when Knuckles is like, "Wait a minute, hold on, where did you get that?" And then that's when Eggman is like, "Oh, okay, you have interest in this. There's one of those little blue menace called Sonic. I'd be more than happy to show you the way." And then,
by the way, congrats on taking the high approach on the "Do you know the way" meme. At least that's how I'm interpreting it. You cannot do a Sonic movie, introduce Knuckles with all these Easter eggs, and somehow not include Ugandan Knuckles. But thank you for taking the high road and not having Knuckles be the one saying, "Do you know the way?" Instead Eggman going, "I can show you the way." It's like, thank you. I appreciate that.
Yeah, no, I immediately caught that first time watching the movie. That was the first time in years I tried so hard not to laugh in the movie theater. It was like, oh, those bastards, they fucking know. Of course. But yeah, we get the title sequence. With Sonic the Hedgehog 2, and now we cut away from the antics of Robotnik and Knuckles for the time being, and we eventually
Sonic Adventure reference.
Yeah, Oh yeah, definitely some Sonic references in there, like very much so, because Sonic, considering he is now very much more comfortable with showing his presence like on Earth, you know, definitely like a complete 180 compared to how he was like at the beginning of the first movie. Yeah, he's trying to become like a vigilante hero, but unfortunately, it's didn't really exactly work out too well at his end. It could have been so much better. He tries to stop a robbery. Obviously, he thinks he does a great job with it, but in the long run, he was very reckless with how he handled like stopping the robbery and such. And yes, there was a huge callback to Sonic Adventure, not just from the running down the tall building, but when he threw some dynamite, that were planted by the robbers in like this armored vehicle with all the cash and such. No, he throws the bomb into the sewers, and what do you think will happen when the dynamite explodes? Oh yeah, water explodes from the sewer drains and such, and it's like, oh god, chaos is back at it again.
Collateral damage.
Gotta ask though, how did Sonic rip off that guy the tape on that bank teller's face from behind a fence window?
I actually don't remember, honestly. I couldn't tell you. But yeah, the amount of damage and such that was dealt like in the city, like after Sonic's attempt at stopping the robbery, it caught the news. Like it got like a front page on the newspaper, and that's when we are reintroduced to one of the many human characters, Tom, who more or less essentially, as was pretty much established like pretty much near the end of the first movie, Tom and his wife Maddie, they basically adopted Sonic as, well, I guess technically their son in a way.
Pretty much, yeah.
Yeah, it's like they're pretty much Sonic's parents at this point.
Yeah, more or less. Like when
gotta appreciate the meme Sonic reference number 2.
Yes. Listen, they can't get enough of Sonic, don't you know? It's so iconic in the Sonic meme universe, don't you know? But yeah, Tom and Sonic, they are on a little fishing boat, and more or less, it wasn't just for the two of them to spend time together. No, Tom got wind of the incident that happened when Sonic was trying to save the city in Seattle, and that's when Tom tries to give Sonic a little pep talk about not being so reckless with his powers and such, and if he wants to be a hero, he needs to wait for that moment to come for when his powers will be ready. Now, thankfully, there isn't like, you know, too much like a negativity between the two. Like there was at first, like, oh my god, Tom, stop! Stop talking to me like you're my dad. No. Fortunately, like Sonic quickly understands like what Tom is trying to get across, and he's like, all right, you know what, that's a good point. All right, I'll take it.
I did appreciate that actually. Like I was half expecting for there to be some kind of like drama between them that goes throughout the movie, but no, they didn't take that route, and I appreciated that. One thing also that this scene did kind of like subtly do that the first movie didn't even touch on was Sonic's inability to swim.
Right. Well, the first movie really didn't really do much. Like the most I think we got out of that first movie was that little bit where Sonic tried to go to where he needed to go, and he comes back and he's just drenched, and that's where he goes, I'm wet, I'm cold, there's a fish on my head.
Yeah, but there was no actual like signs of him being unable to swim. So
right,
but
that was a nice little subtle way to introduce that to kind of bring that point up later in the movie.
Yeah, because it's like I said, save for that one little joke where they were going on their little road trip. It's not like they were anywhere really near the ocean or anything. So I mean, Sonic was never put in that position. But
I mean, what state is Green Hills in again?
Montana, I think.
Okay, that ultimately leads to one one of the I guess the next segue to where we get to see I guess the reintroduction of Maddie's sister Rachel and how she's just suddenly getting married. And one of the perks of having Sonic as a child is the how much money you get to save on airfare.
Yeah.
Yeah, like there's this it's a really cute sequence where it's like, because Sonic he uses one of his rings to basically portal them to go to the wedding, but he goes above and beyond. I mean, he literally grabbed mattresses in the house and set up made the room look like a little mini airport. Did the whole thing go through TSA security checks and shit, and it's it's so stupid, but it's so wholesome. It's aw.
Yeah, then the next thing you know, once they go through the ring portal to Hawaii and Sonic and the dog are home alone and stuff. Yeah, he literally pulls off a Home Alone at a risky business.
Yeah. It becomes Home Alone and he's doing whatever the fuck he wants and is just completely wrecking the house.
Also, gotta say, Sonic, thins? Really? When you reach out to the grocery store, you got the thins? The Oreos were right there, dude. Come on.
Yeah.
He didn't even go for the double stuffs. Yeah, but it was that there's just all that was funny. You see he's doing he floods the room or something with bath suds and shit. So it's just my God, Sonic, what the fuck?
And then he gets a call from Dad.
He cleans up fast. He's fine.
Yeah, the moment the phone rings is he just cleans the mess up and the Flash is oh, hey, how's it going? No, don't mind me. Just hanging at home, reading a book. How about you?
And you can just Tom, he's just got this expression. He's I know you're up to shit.
Well, whatever it is you're up to, Sonic, I hope you will be able to clean it up before we get home, okay? Oh, come on. This is me we're talking about.
Is that I just did?
All the while, while Sonic is home alone and such.
The movie picks up about 40 miles per hour immediately after.
Yeah,
really.
Eggman's here, they go for another fight, and then here come ya boy Knuckles.
Which I will say, right when we're about to have our first fight between Sonic and Knuckles at the house and such, I was actually rather surprised that they kind of altered the iconic line that we saw from the second Sonic trailer and such, where Knuckles says the line, "Do I look like I need your power?"
Yeah, you can tell that they set that up strictly for that trailer shot.
Yeah.
Which is no, I get it. If they altered the line strictly for the trailer just to get some extra attention, you know what? Props to them. It freaking worked. Because it's when Knuckles did it in the trailer, the way they used that iconic line and such, it was oh yeah, we can clearly see, no, Knuckles doesn't need this power. But in the movie, it's he says it before, even before they exchange fists or spin dashes or whatever. So, I don't know, for me, it kind of threw me off guard, but it's all right, I guess it is what it is,
And I love how this entire fight scene already establishes just how great, again, that Jim Carrey as Robotnik is, because, boy just jacks Sonic's popcorn, and just enjoying himself way too hard.
It's hey!
It's pretty much. But... Yeah, Knuckles was, of course, just giving Sonic a really rough time and such. And just when things were getting out of hand, Tails.
Fox.
Yeah, Tails comes in a freaking cop car and runs Knuckles down.
We kind of skipped over it, but there was a scene earlier where Tails showed up on the planet, kind of a small remade scene from the from the teaser ending of the first movie. And then we see him flying around, and he finds the cop car, which he would use to track down Sonic. I will just say this though, as much as it kind of sucks for me to say this regarding Tails, he didn't actually have much of a purpose in this movie. It really does feel like Tails. I get why Tails is there. You can't introduce Knuckles before Tails, but it does kind of feel like Tails was shoehorned in strictly for the sake of him being there, if only because he actually had no real relevance to the plot itself.
I can kind of agree to that, but that being said, though, like, I do have more to say to that, but we kind of have to wait until we go through the whole movie before I can really go into it, because
that's just my initial take on Tails right now.
Yeah, like Tails. I mean, it's a good introduction for him, but again, once we finish talking about the movie as a whole, we'll probably talk about what do we want to see in the next movie, because I think they're setting up for it. Tails is going to get development in the next movie.
Well, I would actually argue that Tails did actually get some good development in this one.
But
He very much did. I just think plot-wise, you could have taken him out and nothing would have changed.
I suppose. But, but again, I'll talk more about that once we finish.
So, Tails runs over Knuckles with a cop car. Sonic gets in completely confused, not sure what's going on. They drive off. Get to show that Knuckles is also pretty fast. Ends up, I don't know if you guys caught this or not. Knuckles ends up blasting through a truck. Oh, what was the name of the level?
Oh yeah, Splash Hill.
So yeah, he ended up destroying a level from Sonic 4, which kudos.
Good.
Yes.
Yeah,
a
lot of people pointed that out. I initially missed that, but it was like kind of like a blink and you'll miss it. It happened so fast.
I remembered the name of the level. I didn't know what game. I forgot what game it came from. So after the movie, I ended up looking it up, and I was like, oh, it was Sonic 4 that he destroyed. Okay.
It's like, oh yeah, leave it to Knuckles to take it down on the game in a classic quote unquote game that he wasn't featured in.
And that's why he did it.
Yeah, that's
exactly.
what you get for not including Knuckles.
Yeah, that's exactly what you get for not including Knuckles, you jerks. God.
Like, knock, knock.
That ultimately, I guess it should also be pointed out too. Like right before Tails even showed up, Knuckles brought up the his destiny and the ultimate power stuff, and that's what caught Eggman's attention.
What's this I heard about? Too much power.
It's like, again, this is why I was talking about, like, yeah, Eggman's gone insane, and Jim Carrey is going full-blown Jim Carrey.
We'll get more into this as we continue through the movie in general, but I will just say this. I can just tell from watching this movie, the actors had so much fun recording this. You can tell that they were into it.
Yeah, that's like, I know we were all talking about, like, in the last movie, we were all like, oh, we love Jim Carrey's portrayal and such because it reminded us very much of the kind of shit he was doing in the 90s and stuff. That is nothing compared to what Jim Carrey is doing now. It's like, no. What he's doing in this movie is far closer to what he was doing in the 90s. Like, this is like, now he's tapping into, like, Ace Ventura and The Mask and stuff. Like, this is 90s Jim Carrey going full ham. And this is where, like, we see, like, with Tails, because Tails brings up about how he was looking for Sonic because back in the first movie, when Sonic was playing baseball by himself and he did that, he went so fast that he blew the entire town's power out, like he basically did an EMP. So, that also basically sent out another signal and Tails picked it up. So that ever since he picked up that signal, he's actually been watching Sonic. So he actually saw Sonic take out Eggman in the first movie, and he was just so inspired that he's just like, I have to meet my hero. And that's why he was initially looking for Sonic, was because he's like, he wants to meet his hero, he wants to help him, and, oh shit, all this stuff's going down. He's like, now I want to help him out, but
honestly, is a really good take for Tails.
It really is. Definitely much better than, just like in the games or whatever, where Tails was pretty much like, oh hey, I can keep up.
Sonic just happens, like, runs past him, and Tails was like, I'm gonna follow that.
Right.
It's like, hey, with my two tails, I can go nearly as fast as Sonic. Okay, this is really cool. Yeah. No.
So it's like in some ways they do keep with Tails' origins because it's like because the basic origin with Tails, if you remember, was that, he saw Sonic and he basically was like, oh, I want to follow him and keep up. And Sonic was like, oh, this little kid's keeping up with me. Okay, we're cool. But it was even mentioned in some of the games that prior to meeting Sonic, Tails pretty much was a loner. Like, a lot of the other kids were picking on him and stuff, whether it was because he was born with two tails or because he's already kind of a little bit of a tech whiz and they thought that was weird. And he pretty much says, that's kind of what was going on. He's like, a lot of the other kids, they make fun of the fact that I've got two tails, so I've just been by myself all this time. And it's like, so it's like, in a way, like they take the origin in a different direction, and yet at the same time, there's aspects about it they're very faithful to.
Yeah, like because I found it interesting as well that that Tails was already flying and called himself Tails prior to meeting Sonic. Because if I recall correctly, in the original story, like Sonic was the one that gave him the name Tails, and I believe Sonic was also the one that gave him the idea to use his tails to fly.
Yes.
Yeah, that's right.
So again, that minor change, but it's not even that big a deal. Like in the context of this Sonic universe, not that big a deal. Like because things are already very different in general. So, beyond that though, we do see Knuckles and Eggman forming an alliance. Yeah. Knuckles crushing Eggman's hand.
This is the
in Knuckles fashion, yes.
It
means
he trusts you.
Yeah. It's like, I just gotta say, like, a big thing that I think probably the biggest thing I love about Knuckles in this movie is that, yes, Knuckles takes things very literally and he does have his stupid moments, but it's not like how he's been lately in the games and, like, especially like in Sonic Boom where it's like, I'm fucking dumb, you know? It's like I'm so happy that they did not go down that route for him, because it's like, you can be, you can have like silly little moments and such with him, but still be treated like, the badass that you are, and that is something the games lately have just not been getting with Knuckles.
Yeah, they treated Knuckles how he was more so originally, like, because Knuckles, like, originally how he was written, he was never actually stupid. He was just ignorant. Like he was a loner for all his life. And even though his story has changed this time around, like he's not guarding. He didn't spend his entire life this time around guarding the Master Emerald. If anything, he spent his entire life trying to find it. But like his stupid moments, quote unquote, in this movie come more so from ignorance. Like he just doesn't. He's experiencing new things, so of course he's not going to fully understand them.
Yeah, and that's way more entertaining to watch than I am. Like I was dropped on my head several times.
I think the best way to describe Knuckles in this movie, I'm not sure if you guys are really going to fully understand what I'm talking about here. The best thing I can kind of relate Knuckles to for this movie is Drax in the Guardians of the Galaxy game.
Yeah, everybody.
The video game specifically, not the movies, the video game.
Yeah,
I don't. I don't know the game. I only know the movies. But
in the movies, Drax very much was a lot more boneheaded. But in the game, they treat Drax much more like, because I hope some of the audience will kind of know a little better. Drax is still very much that very literal character, but he's also very intelligent. Like the things that he knows, he is very smart about. But there's a lot of stuff that he doesn't know, and those where a lot of his more hilarious moments come from is from his ignorance. Knuckles is very much the same way here. Like he's not stupid, just he's learning new things. Is what it is.
Pretty much,
not stupid, but more so just like, like ignorant and naive, I believe is another good way to put it.
But I think it's like one of the next moments is we actually see Eggman, he and Knuckles, they actually do meet up again with, they do end up meeting up again with,
Stone.
Yeah, with Stone. And now he owns the Mean Bean coffee shop. So it's like nice little Nice little reference there, and
Oh, yeah.
you know,
And then Green Hills, which was interesting.
yeah, and you know, and they've gone full blown. You know, oh yeah, this man doesn't just admire Robotnik. No, he's very gay for him. So, I mean, they're not holding back. The guy's literally making latte art of Eggman with hearts and shit. So
Yeah, and
we
with
know.
their faces, you know, like right next to each other as well. So it's like,
So,
oh yeah.
yep.
He deeply
So-
admires Eggman.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. So I mean, we know, but you know, they do this whole thing where it's like, you know, okay, they meet up again. The Mean Bean Cafe ends up becoming like their little base. And there's like all these little things that like Knuckles is just kind of like pointing out or making note of. And again, it's kind of some of the most literal shit, but it's just like, you cannot help but chuckle. So it's just like, you know, it's just like all this weird stuff that's happening. Like, I don't remember if it's at this moment or if it's later on in the movie, but there's like a whole thing, like they were, I think, like trying to hack like Tom's phone or something. They were trying to see messages, like cell phone messages.
And Knuckles was just reading it all out loud, including
Yeah.
the
ellipse.
the typing dots.
Yeah, the ellipses that happens
Having
when
a
you're
nice
typing.
chill day at home. Dot, dot, dot,
dot,
dot,
dot,
dot,
dot,
dot.
dot.
You know
Why
what?
do-
You
why
gotta
do
give it to
you work with
Knuckles.
this imbecile?
He knows how to read English. That's already a pretty that's already impressive. Because I mean, I think the games actually make a point that usually Knuckles is illiterate. So already this movie form of Knuckles is already smarter than the game ones. So.
Well, isn't there a whole joke in the Sonic Boom cartoon or something that you know? I remember you showing me the clip or something where Knuckles is like, "Okay, let me read this." He puts glasses on. Oh wait, I forgot, I can't read. It's like, nope, this Knuckles can read, but he literally reads everything, including the ellipses. So it's like, again, I will gladly take that over, pardon my language, Knuckles.
Oh,
I am so sick of that. I'm so sick of that characterization for Knuckles. It's like, I will gladly take ignorant literal Knuckles any day.
So this is kind of where things also kind of get into the importance of the map, which was kind of a throwaway thing in the first movie that they kind of put more importance on.
Yeah, pretty much. Like while Tails and Sonic were like running away from Knuckles and such, Tails was briefly like talking to Sonic about why Knuckles was here, not solely to attack Sonic, but also Knuckles was getting at Sonic because he believes that Sonic has information of where the Master Emerald is located. Sonic recognizes this as a story being told by Longclaw, and yes, this correlates to what BJ was bringing up. This was something that was like it symbolized on the map that Longclaw left to Sonic during the first movie.
This does also get into 2 points immediately in this one scene that I noticed were kind of felt a little bit forced in the context of this movie. Like, for one thing, it kind of goes back into Tails being kind of forced into this movie. Like, how did Tails find out about what Knuckles was doing? Like, how did he find that out? That was never explained. Also, the fact that Tails got there after Knuckles already found Sonic kind of defeats the purpose of him going there to warn him anyway. So there was that I noticed regarding Tails. The other thing I noticed was because after Sonic notices the Emerald drawing on the map, suddenly the map starts glowing and reveals this pre-recorded message left by Longclaw. Why is this only now activating?
Yeah,
I
very
also
convenient movie.
Yeah,
that I also has a
plot
weird vibes
convenience.
on as well.
Yeah, very much plot convenience.
Yeah, because it was never established. Like, you would think that, after all these years that Sonic had this map, you would think, at some point, freaking maybe Sonic, just by a complete accident, activated that one part of the map and initiated the message and such. But no, it's shortly after freaking Tails tells Sonic about the Master Emerald. Sonic whips out the map, and then that's when the message plays by activating the map.
And again, it's so weird because, the whole, pretty much the movie at this point kind of becomes like, it's a race to see, okay, who's going to get a hold of the Master Emerald? Is it going to be Eggman and Knuckles, or is it going to be Sonic and Tails? So it's a race to the Emerald. But, and surprise, the Emerald is not on Angel Island. It is here on Earth.
Yeah, ironically on Earth. No other planet out there. It's ironically still on Earth.
And that's the thing, because if you remember in the first movie, I mean, Sonic said, like, after everything with Longclaw, he had gone to multiple worlds until he ultimately found his way onto Earth and, ultimately going to Green Hills. So, I mean, it's like, you can't even make the argument like, the map started, activating once it was on Earth, when he ended up on Earth, because that's where the Master Emerald is. But he's been on Earth for a long-ass time. I think it was implied several years in the first movie. And even then, it was like, you could even after the events of the first movie, it's been 240-something days. So it's like, again, why after all this time does the map finally decide to activate?
You actually also, you describing that, Danny, actually brought up something else I just noticed too. Earth wasn't even his final destination for running away. The Mushroom Planet was supposed to be his next destination. So it's
because I said like, oh crap, if I'm found out on Earth, I have to get out of here, and Mushroom Planet is next.
Conveniently, he ended up staying on the planet that the Master Emerald happened to be on.
Yeah, so...
the only thing I could think of possibly that could explain why the map suddenly activated this magic bullshit was that maybe it responded to him saying the words Master Emerald. I don't know. I would have liked to, like, 'cause I would have liked at the very least, like, Longclaw, like, in that pre-recorded message saying, because she goes on like saying, if you're seeing this message, it means I'm no longer with you, that I couldn't be here to tell you this. But you saying the words Master Emerald is what prompted this. Like, just some small little throwaway line to show why it's suddenly activated there. But I don't know.
It's like, oh yeah, you said the secret word. Oh, bam, map activated.
Now that said, though, like, despite the actual ass pull, like, for plot convenience of the actual activation of the message itself actually was very sweet.
It was actually, yeah. There's no denying, like, it was a very wholesome moment, like seeing Longclaw in this pre-recorded message, especially after everything that transpired, like at the beginning of the first movie.
Yeah, which that was very sweet. And this was also, again, this is where I was bringing up this rivalry between the Owl Clan and the Echidna Clan, because pretty much at this point is where we're getting the backstory behind the Master Emerald, which, they definitely took liberties on in a way, but I actually kind of like how they approached it this time around. Cause,
they treated it as, like, the Master Emerald was created from the 7 Chaos Emeralds, which, that's definitely a new take, but one that I don't mind.
Yeah, I didn't mind that either, honestly.
Yeah.
Definitely a much...
Like
oh, go ahead.
Yeah, I like that, if only for the fact that we're going after one MacGuffin and not 7 in a 2-hour movie.
Yeah, my thoughts exactly, because it's like, for years, people would go ahead and obviously, like, putting aside, like, the other obvious comparisons or whatever, when it came to, like, 7 Chaos Emeralds, for years people have been on, like, oh, okay, they gotta find 7 Chaos Emeralds, like how Goku has to find all 7 Dragon Balls or something, But the fact that they took this kind of direction with the Master Emerald, let alone the Chaos Emeralds, it's like, okay, yeah, I honestly like that approach a lot better, honestly.
Mm-hmm.
I think they handle that really well.
Yeah, so the origins of the Master Emerald are different, but it more or less kind of functions, similarly to the Chaos Emeralds anyway. It's basically a giant fucking Chaos Emerald. So it's like, so that's the whole thing. If you get a hold of the Master Emerald, you pretty much have the ability, you get, like, infinite power. You can, like, it's...
They took Tikal's line from Sonic Adventure and turned it into something a lot more literal, turning your thoughts into power.
Yeah. And
they made it a lot more literal this time around. But we'll get to that when we get to it, I guess.
Yeah. We'll see the Master Emerald in all of its glory, in a little bit. But that's pretty much where the origin comes. They go into that backstory with that. They explain with the Master Emerald, and obviously tying into the Echidna tribe and all that other shit. But even though the map activated, it's not going to lead them directly to the emeralds, because the first thing they got to do is, like, before we can find the big MacGuffin, we got to find another MacGuffin to find the big MacGuffin. They got to find a compass first.
So they gotta go all the way to Siberia. And I'm just going to say as well, actually, I think this whole scene in Siberia actually probably was one of the weaker moments in the movie for me. Because, like, again, it felt like they did a lot of forced things for the sake of a couple of jokes that could have been easily avoided. Because,
honestly,
yes, Sonic and Tails, like, they end up at this this bar or whatever, like in the Siberian mountains, and they go in undercover. You know, they're just trying to like rest for a little bit. But Tails' translator ends up messing up, and they insult the waitress, and they end up in this dance off to make sure that they're not thrown into a bonfire afterwards. And the only reason that they're not just hightailing it out is because they accidentally left the map on the table and it ended up flying around all over the bar. What is stopping Sonic from going Flash and just grabbing the map, grabbing Tails, and just leaving?
Honestly,
Sonic is fast enough to the point where where everything is literally just standing still around him. Like, what is stopping him from that? Oh, I know. They wanted a fun dancing trailer shot.
Yeah, and it's like I can definitely agree to that. I mean, it's like I will admit though, I am very much a sucker for Uptown Funk. So it's like, if of all the music that they could have picked for Sonic and Tails to go dancing to, you know what? I can't complain. Uptown Funk is awesome. So I'm like, okay, that's fine. If you're gonna do that, pick a good fucking song, and they did.
So that also said, like, if there's one thing in this scene that I did like, and that was the exposition learning more about Tails. Like, Tails kind of opening up to Sonic a little bit more. Like, and the thing is, like, that whole thing could have been put into any part of the movie. They didn't need this whole Siberian bar thing or whatever, just for the sake of expanding the movie a little bit. They could have put that whole, Tails, you know, opening up to Sonic, saying, you know, how it's like, you're my hero, I really wanted to meet you, I'm nothing special. And Sonic, who his entire life spent alone, immediately relates to Tails and is like, immediately accepts him. So that I thought was a really nice scene.
Mm-hmm. And
the whole bar scene in general, it's like, putting aside the fact that, the whole dance off and such, like, pretty much the majority of the scene in general was pretty much more or less like an alternate take on the bar scene that we saw in the first movie, where it's like, oh yeah, it's there for the sake of, like, silly antics and such. The only difference here is that, obviously Sonic went Flash in the first movie during the bar scene, but didn't think to do the exact same thing in the second movie. Yeah. No, I will give credit to where credit is due. We brought up earlier how, you know, it's like, we were briefly talking about, like, the friendship between Sonic and Tails, like, in the games and such. This whole, like, pretty much a lot of the scene, like, during the bar and such, this is where Sonic and Tails' friendship, like, really started to grow. This is where they really started to develop more as, like, not just as characters, but also as best friends and such, which
you see, like, they go to sleep by the fire, and it's like Sonic gives Tails the blankets, and then you see Tails just, like, wraps his tails around Sonic, so it's like,
oh my god, yes.
That
was adorable. I
said beforehand that it really does feel like Tails was kind of shoehorned into the movie just for the sake of having him. But at the very least, what they did with Tails is really good. Like, honestly, I feel like it really does feel like that Sonic and Tails' relationship in this movie is actually way stronger than it's ever been in the games.
It really is, actually.
We never actually got a proper introduction to when Sonic and Tails ever met in the games. They kind of just already were partners since Sonic 2.
Yeah, exactly.
And the most that we got as an explanation was, like Sonic just happened to be in the area. I think it was also explained that, like, Tails, like, found Sonic's plane, like the tornado, and like and they kind of hit it off there. But like it was always very much more like a like an older brother, you know, like hanging out with a younger brother kind of deal. In this movie, though, you can tell that how strong the relationship actually developed for them, because because Tails opened up to Sonic about again, always being alone, being seen as a weirdo, and Tails just saw this other weirdo who also was doing really great things, and Sonic. He took it, again, not as someone who's just trying to be nice to someone who looks up to him, but as someone he actually can truly relate to. Mm-hmm. And that, I think, was really well done.
Very well done.
I definitely agree. I mean, again, like, another thing, I know Knuckles' characterization in the games lately has been really bad, but Tails got it far worse, because Tails in the games lately has been nothing but a fucking useless coward, and I hate that, because Tails is...
You don't talk about Sonic Forces.
Oh, it's not even just... It's not even just that. I mean, it's like, don't even get me started on Lost World. It's like, oh, I hate what they did to Tails in that game. Like,
snarky.
If it hasn't been obvious, Tails is my favorite character. So I'm like, I really, really despise what they've done to Tails lately in the games. And it's like, I definitely agree with you on this one, BJ. It's like, because we're able to actually see a lot more of the development and such, and it's like, it is a nice throwback to Sonic 2 and 3 and such, because it's like, Tails right now isn't the little badass mech genius that he is right now, but given what the movie is adapting right now, he's not there yet. I think that's coming in the next movie. But again, we'll get to that when we get to it.
He was still pretty badass during this movie. Like, he just wasn't fully confident in himself just yet, but he still got the job done. So
Tails even established like even during like the dance off, like he's not as brave as Sonic, but I absolutely agree. Even though he doesn't have the bravery or the confidence as Sonic does at this moment in time, he's still able to get stuff done, and he does it pretty damn well.
Yeah, and I do also like how Tails was able to fully complement Sonic in terms of the personality, because Sonic, for the most part, even since the first movie, Sonic was kind of established as kind of like this really rambunctious child, slightly annoying, kind of very lonerish, like he talks to himself and crap. But for the most part, he didn't the most deep amount that Sonic ever really opened up to was with Tom. This whole deal with Tails, though, was kind of the first time where we do see Sonic kind of mature a little bit. Like, he's able to because I feel like Tails' biggest role in the series, the Sonic series as a whole, was to be the character that really allowed Sonic to bring out his more his nicer side, like his more like what's the word I'm looking for here, like his compassion, I guess, is kind of the best way to put it.
Yeah, so that's where it's like, it's very wholesome, and it's like, I definitely warm up a lot more to, like, Tails being, like, a little on the weaker end in this movie, because it's like you said, he's not confident in himself or anything right now, but again, given what games are being adapted to this movie, it makes sense. So this isn't like, they're continuing this character regression or anything. It's like, no, they're actually setting up the character in the movie universe.
All right. I guess in which case, so after the needless bar scene,
that
does end up leading to them finding the temple with the compass. But then, Eggman and Knuckles show up. Fight scene ensues, and then snowboarding, which is
overall another, dare I say, another good reference to Sonic Adventure, of course. So I'm always down for that.
Well, and Ice Cap.
Yeah, that too. That is also true.
Yeah, but it's really, but it's also really cool because it's like, it's not just Sonic that's doing the snowboarding. Knuckles actually joins in on it and is actually trying to continue.
Like that Knuckles literally just just smack the shit out of one of the robots just so he can get aboard.
It's like I can board too, don't you know? It's like, I've been trained for this my whole life. And yet I've had no training, and yet here I am ahead of you. Oh, that's gotta be embarrassing.
It's like, yeah, so we're getting some of that classic Sonic cockiness in there too, but granted, right with what's happening right now, it's kind of warranted.
This is actually also the moment where we actually get I guess you could say a little bit of backstory with Knuckles as well. Like even before Knuckles gets kidnapped by those like a few bird dressed up bounty hunters.
Oh my god, baby Knuckles, Knuckles.
Yeah, we actually get some correlation with events that would eventually transpire at the beginning of the first movie. So he was a part of that Echidna tribe that would eventually attack Kid Sonic and Long Claw in the first movie. Knuckles initially wanted to join in on the attack, but his father, of course, the leader of the tribe, you're like, nope, you can't. You need to wait. It's literally more or less like a similar a conversation that Tom and Sonic had on the boat. It's like, no, your time will come eventually for you to be the warrior that you need to be. Now is not that time, so you stay here. Unfortunately, of course, as it was established from Knuckles, his tribe would end up being extinct shortly after.
Yeah.
I have to ask, because that was something else that I was really confused about. Because Knuckles said that his tribe went to go on that big mission to find Long Claw and get the Master Emerald back, but then they never returned. Were there other owls in that village aside from Long Claw? Because are they about to expect us to believe that this injured owl who couldn't fly because she was shot out of the sky killed all of these echidnas by herself?
That's the only impression that I'm getting at, because as we clearly didn't see established in the first movie, there were no other owls in that world or whatnot. As far as we're aware, Longclaw was the only one left. So, honestly, I'm honestly thinking maybe it's something along the same lines as say, when in the animated series Invincible, where spoiler alert, I guess. Oh my god. Where it's basically Omni-Man takes out all these people and he eventually as a result gets taken out as well. The only difference here is that Omni-Man is still alive and yet Longclaw is not.
Yeah, that's kind of the impression that I got. I didn't make that comparison because I haven't seen it, but I kind of got the impression maybe it was something like that where she was fighting off the echidnas so Sonic could escape, and maybe she ultimately did take out the echidnas but ended up succumbing to the wounds, and that's what ended up killing her. That
is more or less what I was trying to get across. That's more or less, I pretty much got the same impression as well. Maybe she was able to take out the Echidna tribe by herself, but because of the heavy fatal battle damage she may or may not have succumbed to during the battle, that's what ultimately led to her downfall as well.
Yeah, but so we get that little bit of a backstory, and again, much like how Sonic was connecting with Tails, that's already something Sonic can latch onto. Oh shit, I get that. Losing a parent and such. And it's I totally get that. So there's that connection.
With the line, we both lost everything that day.
Yeah, something like that. Yeah. All right. Okay, so I guess so before we go further, because I know some people are are watching and they probably want to hear what's our opinion about the fucking Ken Bender situation that pretty much sprung up with this fucking movie. So so it's for those of you who have no idea what the hell I'm talking about, so Ken Penders, once upon a time, was a writer on the Sonic Archie comics. And supposedly, not supposedly, a lot of the characters and such that he wrote, he's got such a fucking hard-on for the Echidna tribe. Don't know why, but he does. But he made, so he was writing with Archie Comics for years, and he created a lot of Echidna characters. Suddenly Knuckles isn't the last of the Echidnas anymore. There's suddenly tribes of Echidnas that are still alive. They were just hiding underground or some shit. So he kind of broke the game lore in there. But one of the things that Ken Penders did, especially around the time when he was getting ready for the lawsuit against like Archie, and then driving EA and BioWare eventually into all this, was he actually went and got copyrights for the Echidna characters, and that's some of the ammo that he was using, to go up against Archie, to go up against EA and BioWare with Sonic Chronicles, and a lot of legal incompetence shit. Well, because apparently so Ken Penders has a character. He basically gave Knuckles a dad and shit, and there's a whole nother character in there named Enerjack, who was I'm going to use the power of the Master Emeralds and I'm gonna become a fucking god and such, and it's so apparently, according to Ken Penders, because this movie has Knuckles with a father who wants to get the Master Emerald to become a god, now Paramount is ripping off his ideas, and now he wants to sue.
I am actually astonished. I did not hear about this until just now.
Oh my god, this was swarming all over Twitter. I think it was within days after it came out, and it's
I don't remember seeing anything on that on social media.
What
What the hell?
Yeah, Ken Penders went off on Twitter. He's saying he's looking into trying to sue fucking Paramount over, oh my god, you gave Knuckles a father that wants power, despite the fact that the Echidnas wanted power, as was shown in Sonic Adventure with Chief Pac-Man. So it's
That's crazy.
It's Ken Penders.
I feel like this is the equivalent of someone making a Sonic fan character on DeviantArt, and then that fan character ends up being used in a game, and that guy is you took my idea, even though the original intent of the idea was already owned by Sega.
Ken Penders has no fucking leg to stand on in this thing. So I mean, it's so fucking stupid, but it's at the same time, I guess maybe this is just the masochistic side of me that likes to lurk, likes to be a filthy little Kiwi Farms lurker sometimes, but it's I kind of want to see him actually try, because it's crack out the popcorn, because that is going to be a funny as fuck attempt to try to pull that lawsuit out. So it's
Paramount, one of the biggest movie companies in the world, good luck.
Exactly, so it's by all means, go on ahead, and I hope Paramount gives him the smackdown for it. I really do.
So what you're saying is, in this particular scenario, Ken Penders is Sonic, freaking Paramount is Knuckles being do I look like I need your power? And we're just Eggman sitting on the sidelines just eating popcorn. Okay.
Paramount has bigger things to worry about, how they're going to recover from that stupid Fairly Odd Parents reboot.
No, it's okay. It's all right. They have the Halo series still going on. They'll be fine.
Yeah, but I mean, it's it's fucking crazy. I mean, it's when you have people that are infamous in the Sonic fandom, like Richard Kuda, the diaper-wearing Sonic has beady black eyes, when he goes on Twitter and says, the Knuckles father in this movie is nothing at all like what's in the Archie comics, so, Ken, you're kind of wrong. When you have people like that dunking on you, I think that speaks for itself.
Yeah, something is definitely wrong with that picture.
In which case, back to more important things.
Yeah, I just wanted to bring that up just because it's just
right.
that's become a thing now. So it's just I figured I'd bring that up because somebody in the comments is gonna know. Hey, did you hear about Ken Penders? What's your opinion? Well, that's what it is. Ken Penders is full of shit.
In which case, I guess getting back to the summary. So Knuckles and Sonic kind of in detention, open up a little bit. Tails ends up attacking Knuckles, kind of not really realizing the context of what's currently going on, and that causes Knuckles to kind of to think that Sonic was just faking him out. And that ultimately led to Eggman getting a hold of the compass because Sonic tried to throw it to Tails, and Eggman ended up getting the rebound.
yeah, pretty much.
And then he shot Tails out of the sky, and this kind of leaves Tails out of commission for a good half hour of the movie.
Yeah, Tails is out cold.
Yeah, so Sonic immediately rushes to Tails, which Knuckles takes notice of too. He was literally like, wow, he went to save the fox and not try to pursue us, which Eggman immediately just called out his weakness. But the resulting chaos ended up causing an avalanche, which I guess actually something we kind of forgot to bring up throughout the movie, throughout the summary, was the actual wedding. So because that's what this leads to.
To be fair, I think I speak for the three of us here when I say, the wedding portion that we're about to get into very shortly, that is one of the more weaker parts of the movie, honestly.
It is the weakest part of the movie. At least I think it is.
Really? I liked it.
It's like
don't get me wrong. I'm not saying it was flat out bad or anything. I will give credit to where credit is due. The fact that they were at least giving some attention to the human characters in some way, freaking, that's not a bad thing. But I mean, it doesn't. But I mean, it kind of slows down a little bit from everything else that has transpired thus far, if you know what I mean.
Okay, here's actually my argument for the weddings then. Why I think they're actually okay, because they fit to the actual themes of the movie, and I would agree with you that they would be weak if the payoff weren't amazing. The payoff for the actual wedding, which we'll get to in a bit, was amazing, in my opinion. But I guess to quickly summarize those, so Maddie's sister Rachel is getting married to this guy. We have a couple of scenes where we see that Tom, he sees Rachel's fiance with all of his buddies, and this makes Tom, wonder if he wished that Sonic had friends more his age, which leads to the theme of Sonic heroes throughout the whole movie. We get the quick establishing scene where Tom was kind of messing with his niece JoJo and switches the rings, which I saw a mile away where that was going. But it ultimately leads to where the actual ceremony, the actual wedding ceremony that's finally taking place. Sonic, while he's snowboarding down the mountain being chased by this avalanche, calls Tom, interrupting the wedding, and says, "Hey Tom, I need you to use that ring that I gave you, to get back and use it to port me over, because otherwise I'm gonna die." But then Tom realizes that he accidentally switched the warp ring with the actual wedding ring, ends up socking the fiance in the head to get the ring because they refuse to give it to him. Opens the portal, and then a giant flurry of avalanche ends up literally crashing the wedding. But that ends up leading to what I call the payoff, and that was, as it turns out, the entire wedding was literally a giant scam. It was set up by the government to get their hands on Sonic, and that's why. Because I think if it really did just end on Tom ruined the wedding and now everything's super awkward, then I wouldn't have liked it as much. But okay, for one thing, you cannot sit there and tell me that Operation Catfish isn't hilarious.
Well, I mean, that is really funny.
You guys finish before I start, because once I do, it's going to be a while before I stop.
Oh, boy. Okay, I appreciate the warning.
This is though where they establish actually another big part of the Sonic universe that was established in this movie, which I find interesting. We'll get that considering what we find out later, but we'll get into that when we get to it. Right. We establish Gun.
Yeah,
and
the same military from the first movie, I guess. Or I guess more so the same military commander that we saw in the first movie. Yeah. The same person that offered the $50 gift card to Olive Garden.
No, because he even said in this movie that Gun was just now established for the sake of protecting the world from extraterrestrials or threats.
Yeah, I was just about to get to that. But
So I really like that overall payoff for the wedding. But I guess Danny, if you want to go ahead and get into
I was about to say, it's if if this wedding was seriously like a whole setup to catch Sonic, thinking that Sonic was going to show up at the wedding in the first place from this unexpected turn of events, what if Sonic didn't show up? Then what?
That is something I thought about as well, because I was thinking about that, but that also made me wonder. They probably set. I wonder if that was just a precaution, because I think about it and it's like, yeah, because it probably was a little bit overkill to have all those agents there, but then I also think about it and it's like, all of the agents are probably there because, okay, first off, what was the name of the fiance again? It was like Randolph or something. Randall.
Yeah.
Randall. Okay. Because like if he's a secret agent, did he have any actual family? Because I wonder if the point of like his side of the wedding just being a bunch of other secret agents and such, that was probably just for the sake of making sure that the wedding looked authentic. Like they probably didn't actually anticipate Sonic showing up. Like they were just ready for it in case he did. But I imagine they, because if they went that far for a whole wedding, they were probably waiting for like an opportunity where Randall ends up at Tom's house, where he'll eventually get a chance to actually meet Sonic. Because I feel like realistically, if you think about it, it's like eventually, if someone's married into your family, you can't just sit there and hide a member of your family from them for who knows how long. I feel like they would eventually feel like they can trust him enough to the point where they can introduce him to Sonic.
Yeah, I don't know. I honestly got the impression that it's like, okay, they were very set on seeing that just by an off chance Sonic was going to make an appearance at the wedding, because it's like, I know you said like it was like overkill for there to be so many freaking agents like just up and ready for when that moment did finally come, but okay, you could not deny it. It's like, okay, seeing the priest like open the Bible and there's a fucking gun on there.
That was just funny though.
that was great.
Like I said, it was overkill, but I feel like it was overkill for the sake of the comedy.
It was overkill. Even for the
Rachel
comedy,
kind of went as she was going off. Even she was sitting like trying like questioning everybody, including her own daughter. Like,
is JoJo an agent?
Like, so that's why I feel like it's more funny than anything else. Like, yeah, again, people can argue that like the actual idea of like the entire wedding being a setup, like, well, it already was in the first place. But again, I don't think they were actually anticipating Sonic showing up. All those agents were there simply because they wanted it to look like an actual authentic wedding. That's more than likely what they were actually doing. So, but they were just, they just were on the ready just in case Sonic showed up, which he did just so happen to do so. Like I do have one thing that I noticed though, which does kind of shoot my argument in the foot, but less so about the actual like intent, like readiness, and more so the actual continuity. Why did they have two cages? How did they know Tails was going to be there?
That was going to be another thing I was going to bring up.
You're actually, yes, okay. Yeah, BJ, you're actually hitting a lot of my arguments. Like, I don't have an issue of the movie bringing in Gun. I really don't. I kind of anticipate that the minute you bring a military force into a Sonic movie, you can anticipate it's either going to be Gun or it's going to lead into Gun. So I don't have an issue with Gun coming in. I just do not think this whole fucking Catfish wedding was the best freaking solution. There's other ways you could have brought Gun in, and I've actually been, like, brainstorming, like, stupid ideas in my head. Like, okay, what are some more, at least in my opinion, effective ways of bringing in Gun other than this fucking Catfish wedding? Like, because, yeah, to your point, BJ, it's like, you're telling me that this military force that just got formed, with them going overkill and shit, it's like, so they anticipated at this location, at this time, at this certain day, at like that time of the day, they know Sonic is coming, and he's bringing a buddy that not even Tom knew about, that nobody fucking knew about, but no, they knew he was bringing a buddy, so let's get that extra cage ready. It's just like, it's so fucking ridiculous. Like, you know.
Yeah, I don't think they did anticipate it. I think they were just ready for it just in case, but I don't think they actually were expecting Sonic to show up. The double cage thing, though, you got me there. Like I have no explanation for that.
Yeah,
That was, I think that was just an oversight.
Yeah, to your point, what if they like off screen or something, okay, you find out that Rachel actually does marry this guy Randall, and they go to visit Tom and Maddie at the house, and that's where Randall is introduced to Sonic and stuff, and then it's like, then you learn, oh, Randall's an agent, he's now made contact, now Gunn can make a move. That's an easy solution. Another solution that I thought could have been a little bit interesting is Sonic, you see that maybe Tom at some point he's saying okay, let me go check up on Sonic. He tries and calls Sonic, and this is where Sonic and Tails are in Siberia. They're fighting off Knuckles and all that other stuff, and Sonic's not answering the phone. And Tom's starting to get a little bit worried, so he uses his ring to go back home to go check up on Sonic. And that's where he goes home and he sees the house is fucking wrecked. And who should be waiting there but Mr. Olive Garden Man and the gun troops? Because we know Olive Garden Man is in Green Hills. And he's going to be like, okay, we formed this gun situation. We knew Sonic was here. Something's happened. Sonic is gone. Robotnik's back. As of right now, Green Hills is under fucking lockdown. No one's going in. No one's getting out until we find some fucking answers. And that explains why Gunn is going to be in Green Hills towards the end of the fucking movie. Meanwhile, we can do something around the same time, while Tom is going there, maybe Sonic in a panic or something throws out a ring and he's like, okay, I gotta go somewhere quick to get, Tails to safety. First place he thinks of is, okay, let me get to Tom and Maddie, and that brings him to Hawaii. Tom's not there, but Maddie is. So it's even something along those lines,
Sonic didn't have his rings. Remember, he lost them all. That was the whole reason why. That was the whole reason why he needed
He can keep one then. But either way, it's just I don't know. I just think I am just not a fan of this whole Catfish wedding thing for Gunn. That is just, I'm not. I just think that you can bring Gunn in, especially with all the shit that Sonic has been doing, and it's I don't know. I'm just not a fan. It was a fucking pace breaker. The movie ground to a fucking halt at that point. And I think it's because I really enjoyed the stuff that they were doing with Robotnik, Knuckles, Sonic, and Tails. I was really enjoying it to that much. So it's it's almost a detriment that it's the minute you move away from that, it's just I'm no, go back to that. I don't want to go back to Tom and Maddie. I want to go back to Sonic and all of them. Which is weird because I like Tom and Maddie, but I'm at that point, I'm just this movie ground to a fucking halt. It's an absolute fucking pace breaker. I really did not find the wedding situation good. I certainly didn't find it funny. I mean, and it just kept going on and on and on, and I'm just can we please move on already?
I can see the whole the scenes with Maddie and Rachel saving Tom and Sonic and Tails. I can see that. I can see why that would be a pace breaker for people. I guess I didn't personally because I actually really did enjoy those scenes myself, and I think I think one of the reasons why I found myself enjoying those scenes specifically so much kind of goes back to what I was saying earlier. You can tell that the actresses playing as Maddie and Rachel were having a fucking blast recording that scene. And I remember Sophia actually told me on her way home. Apparently, fun fact, assuming this is true, this is what Sophia told me, so if this is wrong, you can blame her. Apparently, the reason why that whole scene with Maddie and Rachel was there in the first place was because the actresses that played them actually asked the producers if they can have a little more screen time, so they can, and the producer obliged.
I mean that actually correlates to something I was going to bring up. Yeah, I mean, I will agree with Danny. In general, it to me, it felt like it was a bit of a pace breaker. But the whole scene, it did have its moments, and I will say probably one of the biggest ones was the fact that Rachel, freaking, we got a shit ton of Rachel develop more as this crazy pissed off character, and I will give credit to where credit is due. I like that a lot. I actually did.
Okay, well, I guess in which case,
Yeah, but that's where, but like to me, that is the weakest part of the movie is just the whole wedding scene. It's like, I mean, realistically, that whole moment probably lasted maybe like 10 minutes, but it felt so much longer. I mean, it was just like, to me, that was the low point. Like, I think like do a little reshuffling or something, find a way to shorten it or rewrite it or something, but it's like, I know you were talking, BJ, earlier about like some scenes about how you felt like, oh, if you changed this or if you took it out, nothing it wouldn't affect the story in the long run. That's how I feel about the wedding. You can take out a lot.
I do agree there. There.
It felt like pointless filler. And it's like, I understand you gotta run out of movie time and stuff, but this is already a 2-hour fucking movie. You can shave off 10 minutes out of a fucking wedding. You can easily do that. So that's where I'm just like, again, it's like, if you took out the whole wedding thing, the only thing you'd be missing out of that would be, oh, it's the introduction to Gun. Well, you can find a better way to get Gun in there. You know, that's I think bottom line, that's just kind of where I am. So, yeah. That's the weakest part of the movie. It goes, it definitely shoots up uphill from there, and it becomes great again. But it's just like, that's where I'm just like, oh god, I was so frustrated.
I guess to move along then, because I think we pretty much did kind of get all the points for those scenes.
Yeah, it's like the wedding in general is like, it was middle ground for me. Like for me it was a pace breaker, but again, it did have its moments, and for whatever those moments were, I can appreciate them honestly. So it was like it was weak, but it was all right.
Can I just say though?
Yeah.
Can I please just say, and this is something I'm hoping for so dearly. If and when Amy Rose is introduced in the movie series or whatever in the future, please let her interact with Rachel. Please.
Please do! Please do!
That is a duo that I want to see.
Yeah, I strongly agree. I want that to happen as well. After everything that we witnessed Rachel do, like during the wedding, I want that to happen.
All right. In which case, so that ends up ultimately leading though. So Maddie ends up being the one to save Tom, Sonic, and Tails. It ultimately leads to where Eggman and Knuckles find themselves on this little deserted island in the middle of the ocean, where they find the spot where the place to compass, which parts the ocean and literally reveals the temple that houses the Master Emerald, which shoots up this giant green light into the sky, which can be seen from Hawaii. So that's how they know shit's already going down once the wedding thing kind of resolves itself. Sonic initially is like, he doesn't want Tom or anyone else coming with him because he saw what happened to Tails and doesn't want that happening to anybody else. So Sonic decides to go alone, literally running across the water, to make it, which was a really cool scene. I actually like how they actually took it a step further by showing the actual waves that Sonic was forced to go through to get there.
Oh yeah,
that was a really cool scene. Like Sonic trying to get across the water.
Yeah, you could tell. Like, this was definitely a huge struggle for him, and on top of the fact that it's like, Sonic can't swim, and he has to, considering just how rough the waves were, it's like, you could tell that it's like, okay, if he slows down or if something happens, then this hedgehog is pretty much a goner.
Yeah. Ultimately, he doesn't end up making it though, just like barely by the skin of his teeth. And by this point, Eggman and Knuckles are already in the dungeon, like the temple, which I gotta say,
the Labyrinth zone.
Yeah, Labyrinth zone. That's exactly what it was.
Yeah, just without all the water, it's like, oh, thank you, God. It's like
after Sonic entered, he literally went down the water slides.
Yeah. Like it's a tolerable Labyrinth zone.
Yeah. It's like a little bit of Labyrinth zone and then a little bit of the Mystic zone.
do like how, because I think this is the first time we're seeing like a proper like 3D representation of Labyrinth Zone, and I love how they emphasize the actual Labyrinth part by showing us like an above view of it, and it's literally a giant maze.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, no, I like that.
And then yeah, like I love like the interactions between like Eggman and Knuckles just trying to get through this dungeon.
Freaking Knuckles and Eggman. You know, they're trying to avoid these traps by like the skin of their freaking teeth. Meanwhile, Sonic is like just blazing through them like no tomorrow.
It's like, didn't they almost get their balls crushed at some point?
One of the pendulums like nearly like shaved off Eggman's mustache. All because he got the timing wrong by just a sliver.
Yeah, so the Labyrinth Zone stuff was cool. And that ultimately leads to where they finally do find the room with the Master Emerald, where we get the final confrontation between Sonic and Knuckles, which was an excellent fight.
It was. I enjoyed it.
Yeah, and the Master Emerald, like, we see the Master Emerald, like, the way that, like, because I know in the games, well, once upon a time in the games, the Master Emerald used to be fucking massive. It used to be, like, twice the size of Knuckles. And it's like, now this is more like the size of what the Master Emerald was, like, at the very end of Sonic Adventure 2, where it's like, oh, it suddenly fits the
Yeah, I was about to say, literally at the end of Sonic Adventure 2.
I imagine they shrunk it down for the sake of convenience of being able to move it around.
So. Very much so.
Which again makes a lot of sense. So that's
it does, like, actually.
Because I was actually wondering, like, okay. I mean, I know we've seen clips and such of the Master Emerald throughout the movie, and I believe in some of the trailers, but it was just like, okay, what, like, are they gonna actually keep this thing being fucking ginormous, like, at least on the scale of, like, Knuckles? And it's like, nope, they kept it on the smaller end.
It's still pretty big for an emerald, but yeah. So like, but yeah, the actual fight itself, I loved the bounce bracelet reference as well.
Yeah, the bounce bracelets, you know, like Sonic literally homing in on Knuckles, like as he's like just smashing him further down and further into the ground and such. Freaking, you know, Knuckles is like just trying so hard to even land a punch on Sonic, and meanwhile Sonic is just dodging all the punches, being like, okay, you are really bad at punching.
I know, it's like, yeah, Sonic is out. It's like Sonic can, like, outrun fucking Jotaro. That's basically what this is. It's like,
yeah, that's literally what it is.
Knuckles is doing an aura rush, basically, and Sonic is just casually dodging it like it's no big deal.
It's like, hold still and die with honor!
It's like, can you imagine something like that happening in JoJo's Bizarre Adventure? Like, at least, even when Jotaro was fighting Dio at Stardust Crusaders, they were meeting punch to punch. It wasn't like they were doing some, like, uncanny dodge bullshit.
No, definitely not. But ultimately, like, as Sonic and Knuckles are fighting against each other, this is essentially like the perfect distraction so that Eggman himself can get his hands on the Master Emerald, and that is when the huge plot twist occurs, pretty much, where it's like, oh no, what's this? Eggman was using Knuckles as a means to get ultimate power? Yes,
I guess we forgot to mention, like, right before Sonic showed up, yeah, Eggman was ready to kill Knuckles right before Sonic showed up.
Yes. It's like, what Eggman at that point, he was essentially be like, all right, your services are no longer required. You're just as useful as blah blah blah, and he's literally about to tase him or some shit with his two freaking
tase him with fingers in the shape of the Spider-Man of the hand gesture.
Yes, exactly. But yeah, Knuckles realizes that Eggman was basically being used by Eggman to get his hands on the Master Emerald. Eggman admits to doing such a heinous act, as a villain should, and Eggman was the one to tap into the Master Emerald's ultimate power. And I will say, I think at this point, this is where I really got the really huge Sonic Adventure reference here. When Eggman embraces the power of the Master Emerald and he screams at the top of his lungs, "Chaos is power!" and then actually, and it's like, I also really love it how it's like, freaking, he dives into the power of the Master Emerald, and it's like, it's not just his eyes that turn green like modern Sonic would. No. His whole he's a green man. Like, I'm not talking like, his skin turns green. Like, no, his suit and his eyes and everything. He's a green man.
Yeah. So, and ultimately, him taking the Master Emerald from its spot causes the entire temple to start collapsing. Eggman ends up leaving Sonic and Knuckles to die. Knuckles is actually trapped under a pillar, while the room is filling with water. So Sonic ends up going down there to help him escape. But Sonic couldn't get out by himself because what is with Sonic's biology in that why does Sonic just sink? I never actually got that. Like, people naturally float. Why does Sonic just sink?
Yeah, like, I wouldn't think Sonic is that heavy. That causes him to sink. Yeah, really. Like, I don't recall Sonic being like that heavy. Like, I don't know. I was
even showed Sonic doing swimming motions, but he just wasn't going anywhere. Like, because even like in the games and even like other mediums, like that's always been the case. Why does Sonic just sink? What is in his biology that causes that to happen?
Yeah, that was another thing that confused me too.
I mean, that's not really a movie problem. That's just a Sonic general problem. So.
Yeah, it's a Sonic general problem. Yeah, that's a good way to put it.
I know obviously the notion of not being able to swim exists. Like, there's plenty of people on the planet that don't know how to swim, but they usually still float for a little bit. In Sonic's case, he just sinks.
Yeah. On the plus side, air bubble.
Yeah, I love that reference actually. Yeah,
I love that too.
I was like, I really wanted to hear I really wanted to hear the classic drowning music at that point until he took that air bubble. and then it's like, okay, nope, get away. He got the air bubble. No more drowning music.
Then ultimately Knuckles ends up going back for him as well. You had to pull him out. And then and afterwards they kind of end up having their little one-on-one where they're kind of able to open up to one another.
Yeah, that's where it's like, I love that scene because it's like, Knuckles is basically like, you helped me, I helped you, I paid my debt. Sonic just starts throwing sand at him, and he's just like, dude, what the hell? It's like, you just see Sonic, he's just throwing I guess you could say little snowball-sized globs of sand, and next thing you know, Knuckles just dumps a fucking pile on them. So it's just like, aw.
Why do you attack me at my hour of grief?
It's like again, it's that wholesome shit, but it's wholesome. It is silly, but it's that's where they ultimately connect, and Knuckles realizes what's going on, and he's like, probably almost begrudgingly, because it's not like he warms up to Sonic almost immediately. I mean, Sonic has warmed up to Knuckles, but Knuckles is just probably more begrudgingly. He's like, okay, I'll help you, just to get the fucking emerald back, because that's what he's been after this whole time.
It's not fully just that, because it's because Sonic does bring up a point where it's Knuckles opens up how he didn't really have anybody, and he felt betrayed by Eggman, because Knuckles even had a line beforehand where he did see Eggman as a friend. So this is Sonic kind of trying to heal that betrayal, and saying how because I think Knuckles was the one that asked Sonic, how do you find yourself still so carefree and happy despite losing everything like you said you did on the back on the mountain. And Sonic said he found a new family and told Knuckles that he can do the same.
Yeah.
So but then not long after that, we see Tails show up, in the what I
right.
assume is going to eventually become the tornado. No, actually, never mind. It doesn't get destroyed. But regardless, the tornado. He shows up in the tornado.
Yeah.
Yes,
But it's like,
yes,
yeah, Tails
the
is like,
tornado.
I'm knocked out unconscious. Never mind, I'm okay.
Well, yeah, because that was like a random little scene that happened. Yeah, right after Sonic left to go find Eggman and Knuckles back at Hawaii. Yeah, as soon as Sonic ran off, Tails' internal Sonic radar went off, and he suddenly conveniently woke up. But he was still too weak, and he was still too weak. And again, little moments. I did like how Maddie and Tom kind of trying to tend to Tails, because like a child, and that was cute. But then ultimately, so like Tails ends up getting the plane because the plane was actually used for Rachel and Randall's wedding. Like to fly like a banister with their names on it. So Tails ends up commandeering it so we can go pick them up and then make their way to the final battle.
Yeah, which takes place in Green Hills.
Yeah, because up to this point, so again, scene that we kind of skipped over. There's a point where Wade was his name, the other cop in Green Hills. Like the actual buffoon character that most people would associate Knuckles with usually.
Yeah.
So don't worry, that role is still covered, by the way. Just with the characters that we don't care about, so we don't have to worry about it.
Just not with Knuckles, thank God.
He ends up coming across Stone in the Mean Bean because he was trying to go get some coffee. But then he noticed the secret lab behind it, and we see Stone trying to fit Eggman into new outfit ideas,
One
including
of them being a classic Robotnik costume.
Which I think just shows us, that would have looked stupid in live action, wouldn't it? So thank goodness they went with something a little more sensible.
Yeah, it's like, oh yeah, this is why we chose this attire for the movies and left it with the games.
Yeah, there's just some outfit designs that are just left off in 2D. You don't need them in live action.
but it was still so great to see that little Easter egg as Stone was looking through all these other freaking attires and such. That was great. I love that.
So I do have to ask, what was Wade trying to accomplish during that scene? I know he's an idiot, so I don't think he was supposed to be logical. But what was it he was actually trying to do?
I think he was just trying to get some coffee.
Yeah,
I think he was just trying to get some coffee, but it's once he saw the lab inside the Mean Bean coffee shop, as he was like, okay, no, I should probably try to put a stop to whatever this guy is doing.
Yeah, and then just did a really bad job of it.
Yeah, he did. He really did.
Ultimately, though, that does lead Eggman to literally teleporting into the building with his auto-tuned voice. This whole shtick with Eggman with the Master Emerald power is fucking hilarious.
Wait, hold on. You say that he teleports into the coffee shop, because he has the Master Emerald. Could you argue that this was the first instance in the movies where chaos control was implemented?
I'd say so, yeah.
Yeah, I'd argue that.
It's
like we don't have a name for it, but that's essentially what it is.
Yeah. I mean, the Master Emerald does contain all 7 Chaos Emeralds, or I guess at least just one. In the Master Emerald itself. So I was like, yeah, who's to say that technically was not the first instance of chaos control in the movies?
It's so hard to argue whether or not it really is because we can assume it is. But because they make a point, as we kind of see with this establishing scene of Eggman with these new omnipotent powers of the Master Emerald, that again, we brought up at the beginning, the Master Emerald in this movie, the line "it turns your thoughts into power" is taken quite literally. Eggman is now literally able to do whatever the Master Emerald in this movie is effectively a Green Lantern ring. So. It's
oh my god, it is. It really is. Oh my god.
Now, if only it were Ryan Reynolds instead of Jim Carrey, but things have passed already. Anyway,
right. Yeah.
Anyway, so we get this establishing scene showing that Eggman is now all power as he's literally messing with Wade and impressing Stone. It ultimately
Yeah.
leads up to Gunn showing up in the front of the coffee shop because they somehow just so happen to know exactly where to look for Eggman.
Yeah,
Gunn's really good at that, aren't they?
Yeah, from Hawaii.
Gunn's really good at that, aren't they? Like like how like I guess.
He thinks
I mean-
Gunn has unlocked the secrets of chaos control.
I guess one could argue that it's like, I guess they gotta just, oh man, well, I don't know. They
I imagine some time has passed between going to Hawaii and getting back to Green Hills. So them traveling there, I imagine, wasn't too much of a stretch. But what I'm more confused about is, at this point, the Mean Bean was supposed to be an undercover area. And at this point, only Wade would have known about it. I forget, was there ever an establishing scene where Wade contacted somebody while interrogating Stone?
I don't recall there actually being like an actual establishing shot of Wade like trying to like get backup or anything, but I do remember I could have sworn there was a scene like right when we got the establishing shot of like the military or a gun, you know, like surrounding, you know, the bean machine.
Exiting the helicopter, one of the agents brought up how Eggman had a hostage, and it was a police force. So, but that goes back to my question: how did Gunn know that the Mean Bean was Eggman's hideout, and how did they know that Eggman was there?
Yeah, that's all we pretty much know.
And it's like, and let alone have the amount of time to not only just to deploy foot soldiers, but to deploy fucking trucks and tanks and shit. It's like, I mean, they were there, they were ready to go to fucking war. You don't mobilize like that so fast.
Think about it, Danny. It's just like in Sonic Adventure 2, where right after Sonic beats the first boss after City escapes, he's suddenly surrounded by tons of robots out of nowhere. It's the same thing. Gun just has that power. They can just summon shit at will and know exactly where to be at the right time, I guess.
What? Okay, wait, hold on. You mentioned that, BJ, but it's like, can I just point out that the chopper that freaking like the gun leader and then Tom and Maddie came down in, they literally came down through via Sigma Alpha 2, the same fucking chopper that we see at the beginning of the hero story in SA2.
Is it really?
Yeah, there was literally SA2 on top of the chopper, so one could argue, oh, it's Sonic Adventure 2. It's like, oh no, it's more than SA2 on that chopper. That is the Sigma Alpha 2 chopper.
Well, rip Sigma Alpha 2, considering what happened afterward, but
I know. It's like, god damn it. But I'm just like, I see that, my jaw, that was one of the moments where my jaw dropped, like literally in the movie theaters. I'm like, oh my god, they fucking went there, and I love it.
That. No, I didn't see that.
Oh my god.
I did not pick up on that at all.
It's like, oh, it's like, I'm sorry, it's like the inner SA2 fan in me like picked up on that immediately. I'm like, oh my fucking god, they did not.
In which case,
yeah,
it ultimately leads to Eggman confronting Gunn, with Gunn not really understanding the powers that Eggman now has, and Eggman literally starts doing this crazy magic bullshit, where he starts like slowly disassembling all of the machinery in the area around, like all of the tanks, the helicopters, the trucks, everything, disassembling it piece by piece, creating a tornado, grabbing Stone because you can't forget Stone.
Take me with you, Doctor.
Yeah, and ultimately, I honestly, this was such a cool shot. I did not expect to see this at all, but in hindsight, it makes so much sense. Constructs the Death Egg robot.
It does, and I will say, like, I have heard people like say, like, they nitpick about like, oh, when you see this Death Egg robot like in action or whatever, and we see this Death Egg robot, you know, like Eggman is like just having the time of his life controlling this robot. He does what Jim Carrey normally does and does these like over-exaggerated emotions, and then we see the Death Egg robot, you know, freaking mimic the same fucking motions that Eggman does. I mean, it's like people have nitpicked about, it's like, oh, the animations with the Death Egg robot, it doesn't really fit. It's not completely accurate with how Eggman moves around, but it's like, who fucking cares? It's like, this fucking Death Egg robot, it looks so fucking fantastic in the movie. It looks so good. The best it's ever been, even in the games. I would argue.
Yeah, so the climax of the movie, Sonic, Tails, and Knuckles show up in through a warp ring with the tornado, so they can confront it. This whole climax was just great for me, honestly.
Again, this is where it's like, oh yeah, like this is the high point, like.
This is where Sonic, Tails, and Knuckles, they more or less, like, they truly became Sonic heroes in this fight.
Yeah, that's where it's like, if the wedding for me was the low point, it didn't take too much longer after the wedding to jump immediately to the high point of the movie.
Yeah.
And I love the banter between the heroes on their way there. Knuckles literally like Pratt falling off the plane, getting ready to battle.
Yeah.
Again, the small little references during it, even as they're fighting, when Stone suddenly figures out how to use the mustache of the Death Egg robot to smash one of the planes, or one of the wings of the tornado.
He took the Genesis manual.
Exactly.
It was literally a Genesis
for the robot.
Yes.
Yeah, I caught that reference. That made me chuckle.
It's like that. Oh yeah, that was.
That's a blink and you'll miss it, but I caught that one.
Yeah, hard to miss, but I too got that shit. It's like, yes.
Not long after, something happened that caused Stone to get knocked out, and then Eggman got offended about it.
Oh, great. Now he's gonna file a report about a hostile working environment.
Yeah, so in which case, eventually, everything the three heroes are doing aren't amounting to much, but they decide to I guess as Knuckles put it, or Sonic put it, or whatever, use Sonic as the groin, the weakness.
Yeah.
It's like that's right, I'm the groin.
Use Sonic as the distraction so Tails and Knuckles can jump in it and try to take Eggman by surprise. And it leads this whole nice scene.
Yeah, it's like you see Tails brings out all these holograms and then Knuckles comes in. I am also a hologram.
And then literally, intro to Sonic 3 punches the Emerald out of the superpower being.
Yes. Yes. Oh, it's like, oh yeah, that was another amazing throwback.
Yeah, I know. That's what people, I think, honestly forget about how awesome Knuckles was in the classic eras. It's like, yeah, Knuckles in his base form could punch the emeralds out of Supersonic. And he does it again in this movie. It's like, Knuckles is fucking badass.
I think what's interesting to think about, though, if we think about this from a lore standpoint, because considering what we see Knuckles do, after everything's, all said and done with the Master Emerald, that may just be something that Knuckles is just able to do. It may have less to do with his physical strength and more so to do with just his connection to the emeralds. That may just be a power that he has. He's able to, through hitting somebody, he can knock the power out of them.
Maybe.
Yeah. That's a strong possibility. I can see that.
So, I guess in which case, the Master Emerald literally gets knocked out of Eggman. Sonic by this point is really beaten up because through being the distraction, he's taken a lot of blows and has suffered a really big fall too. When I saw Sonic Pratt fall to the ground, I was like, oh, he's dead. He's dead. You're not surviving that, dude. Because he hit the ground hard.
He really did. He really did.
Yeah, which makes sense for Sonic, because, it's Tails can fly, Knuckles, at least in the games, can glide. We really don't see any gliding action in the movie, so, who knows if he can or not. But at least as far as in the games go, Sonic's the only one that really has, no air mobility whatsoever. So it makes sense for him to practically pratfall to the ground.
Ultimately, though, so Eggman in desperation, has to try to get the emerald back. Sonic sees the emerald and goes to retrieve it in his super just battered, weakened state. And moments before Eggman is able to step on Sonic, Maddie and Tom, who commandeered someone's car, drive up and save him, right at the last second. But then they end up getting blown up by Eggman. And yeah, we get another really sweet moment between the three of them, where it's like, Sonic is hoping to try to use the Master Emerald to save them, but it ends up breaking apart, revealing all the shards of the emeralds of the Master Emerald, as well as the Chaos Emeralds that fall out of it. Like, again, blinking you'll miss it, but you literally see the different colored emeralds falling out.
Yeah. And they are tiny.
Yeah, very, very tiny. They're almost like pop rocks.
Yeah, like if the Master Emerald can fit, in Sonic's hands, then it's like it makes sense that they're gonna, they're practically pop rocks.
We get this sweet little scene where typical go on without me. It's me he wants, and Tom and Maddie are like, no, we're not leaving you. We're a family. We're in this together. And they're ready for death. They're ready to go out together. But then the Chaos Emeralds, Deus Ex Machina. It's not a Sonic 2 without the Chaos Emerald showing up and giving us, again, probably one of the coolest Super Sonic segments in Sonic's history, I feel.
I will say, the moment I saw the Master Emerald shatter and I see all 7 Chaos Emeralds popping out, or falling out, that's when I was like, holy shit, are they seriously going to do this? Are they seriously going to bring in Super Sonic? And yes, sure enough, they fucking did. And I strongly agree with you on BJ. This is by far the coolest Super Sonic I have seen thus far. With Sonic in general.
Really emphasize just how powerful Super Sonic is. Eggman and this giant robot is trying to just deck him, and Sonic just casually, just like Superman, Dragon Ball Z, just stops it with one hand, and then key blasts that shit apart.
He just spins around the freaking neck, if you want to call it that. He spins around the head of the Death Egg robot and just saws it off pretty much, like no freaking tomorrow. I will say the moment that Eggman was trying to get a good sneak attack in on Sonic with a punch from the Death Egg robot, and fucking Sonic, just stops it with one hand. I strongly agree as well. That was so fucking badass.
And it ultimately led to my surprise, of all things, a Sonic 06 reference.
Yes!
After Sonic is done tearing apart this robot and it's left on its last legs, he fucking taps that shit with his foot and just watches it slowly fall. And Eggman is just sitting there offended, oh, it's like that, is it?
Okay, I guess we're not friends. Later, hater!
Which ultimately leads to Eggman falling to his death, quote unquote.
Huge heavy quotations. I could not get over the fact that it's of all the other references or Easter eggs they could have implemented in this movie, it was that one fucking moment in Sonic 06. That was another one of those moments where my jaw was dropped in the theater.
That's what Eggman was more offended about, that he referenced Sonic 06.
That's what I was about to say. He got beaten is because, oh, really? We're referencing that game now.
It's oh, god damn, Eggman, what a way to go, my dude. Holy shit.
So everything settles down, and ultimately, Sonic comes down to greet, all his friends. Knuckles at first is no, don't touch him. He has the power of the emeralds. He's not the same as he used to be. And then Sonic immediately summons all these lightning and shit, and then just ports in a chili dog.
He's like, nope, it's him.
Okay, maybe it is the same hedgehog you've known. Sonic then ultimately, releases the power of the emeralds, and they get scattered. Dragon Ball style. Tails is Sonic, you were the greatest hero in the universe. Why did you give that power up? And Sonic is well, I don't think I'm ready for it yet.
He admitted himself he still has a lot of growing up to do.
Yeah, and then Knuckles finds the remaining shards of the Master Emerald, and it does what I was referring to earlier regarding the connection to the emeralds. Yeah, he somehow is able to completely reform it.
Yeah. Well, I mean, that's pretty much what he does in the adventure games. Is like he got all the shards. He can put them all. He can put the thing back together.
Yeah. Well, like in the games, it always just showed where like all he had to do was just throw the pieces at the chunks, at the bigger chunks, and they just reformed together. Here, he did something where like he like compressed it with his hands and caused it to reform that way, which is cool.
Yeah, he gathered all the shards together with both of his hands. Like he pressed down with both of his hands, like in between and such. And yeah, that's what formed the Master Emerald. Yeah, that was really neat.
Yeah, and ultimately Sonic, Tails, and Knuckles decide. So yeah, they take an interesting twist here. Because like, yeah, we're used to Knuckles being the sole guardian of the Master Emerald. Here they take a direction where it's like Sonic, Tails, and Knuckles decide that they'll guard the Emerald together.
Right.
Yeah, I was honestly suspecting. Oh, sorry. Go ahead.
Yeah. So it's like, because you see, like, one of the last scenes we see before the credits roll is kind of like harkening back to the first movie where Sonic was playing baseball by himself. Now we see Sonic playing baseball with Maddie, Tom, Knuckles, and Tails. And it's like, which is all cute and stuff, and it's like they're all playing. Knuckles doesn't quite understand the concept until he hits the ball, and then he's like, I take the first base! Now I take the second base! So it's like,
Yes, I am having the fun with the base and ball!
Yeah, so I mean, it's just funny shit. But it's like, yeah, you see, like, they kept, like, the Master Emerald in, like, the cooler or something. So, I mean, they are literally keeping that thing with them.
Which honestly, I will say that is definitely an approach I honestly was not expecting. Like, I was seriously suspecting like they were gonna take a direction similar to how it was with the games, and now it's like, okay, now that Knuckles has the Master Emerald in his hands, like at the crash site or whatever, like at the end of the battle, it's like, okay, well, I guess Knuckles is gonna do this pretty much the same thing, supposedly, like how it was in the games, and he is supposedly gonna be the guardian of the Master Emerald again. But yeah, no, it took me by surprise that they went with this approach with all three of them protecting the Master Emerald together. I enjoyed that, really.
I know why too, because it fits better to the actual themes of the movie. The actual theme of the movie is camaraderie.
Yeah.
Because like they make it a big point where like Tom wishes that Sonic had like his own squad of friends to hang out with that were his age and more like him, and by the end of the movie he finally got that. Because I guess now Knuckles and Tails are now just living with Tom and Maddie as well. So like
right, like first they have to fix the house.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But I would assume, like, once they fix the house, it's like, they could probably fix some rooms for Tails and Knuckles.
Either that or just have them all in the attic together, so.
Yeah, or something like that, yeah. So it's like, okay, that's all cute. And, pretty much at that point, credits roll, but just like in the last movie,
there's the mid-credits scene.
There's the mid-credits, which is where everybody flipped out online. So it's like, I would honestly be surprised if you have not heard about the mid-credits, because
I got lucky. I didn't know about this, so
I didn't know about it either.
I got to be genuinely surprised, even though unfortunately I did kind of predict it.
Well, I mean, it's like, the minute you bring in Gun, they're bringing Shadow in.
Yeah.
What's gonna happen.
Yep, so ultimately, we get an end credit sequence where it shows, Gun trying to clean up the wreckage of the Death Egg robot, trying to find Eggman's body.
Dr. Stone,
and one of the agents
one of the gun robots.
One of the agents is talking to Commander, to the Commander, the Olive Garden Commander, where she says something along the lines of like how while they were digging through Eggman's old files, they found something that dated back 50 years ago, and immediately the Commander knew what she was talking about.
Yeah,
Project Shadow.
And literally the last thing you see is you see like the tube that Shadow was kept in like rise out of the ground, and you see Shadow, he opens his eyes, and boom, end of the fucking movie.
Shadow the Hedgehog. Oh my goodness, I hope they do him justice.
I seriously hope they do him justice too, because holy crap.
How are we able to live in a timeline where we're guaranteed to be getting some kind of an adaptation of Sonic Adventure 2 on the big screen?
Oh my goodness.
I am all for that.
Oh, okay, real quickly. I think before we gush into what we want to see in the future, let's quickly give our final thoughts on this movie if we can.
I definitely enjoyed it. I mean, I don't know if I can really say, like, do I like this one better than the first one? Because there's some things I absolutely love about this movie, way more than the first one. But then there were some points, like, you know, like the wedding, that kind of dragged it down for me. And it's like, okay, pacing issue. First movie was a little better paced. But I definitely like the characters a little more. I like them both equally, you know, for different reasons.
I can say with confidence that I actually do like this one more than the first one.
Yeah, I strongly agree. Don't get me wrong. The first Sonic the Hedgehog movie was fantastic. It was like great starting ground. Yeah, a lot of people back then were it's like, okay, it's just all right. It's generic. It's like you know, like stuff you expect to see from like a '90s movie, which yeah, I'm pretty sure that was essentially the point. But even so, you know, regardless of such. The first Sonic movie, it was great starting ground for what will eventually be supposedly, you know, the Sonic Cinematic Universe. But yeah, the first Sonic movie focused more primarily, at least from what I've seen, as like, yeah, starting ground, you know. They focus more on like the bonding and like a, you know, character development of like the human characters and Sonic for that matter. Here, on the other hand, there was some character development involved, like especially with like friendships between, you know, Sonic and Tails, and then even a little bit more in between with the human characters and such. But this movie was way more. They focused a lot more on like the action and such. Sonic the Hedgehog 2 is way more action packed compared to Sonic 1. And just from that alone, amongst other things, yeah, putting aside, yes, I still agree, you know, like. So, a couple moments where it does break the pace a bit in the movie. This was still, like, kind of like what I said earlier, like, before we even got into the plot summary of this. Sonic the Hedgehog 2, definitely a much better step up compared to the first movie. A great follow-up, an amazing sequel.
Yeah, it's absolutely a worthy follow-up.
Yeah. I will make note that these movies aren't perfect. As we kind of went throughout the movie, yeah, we have our gripes with them. They do have some issues. Regardless of such, they're just fun times, are what they are. Like, they're movies, and they know they're movies. They're not trying to take themselves seriously.
Yeah, and I know I tweeted it when I came back from the movie. I think hands down, the best part of this movie, I think the highlight, it's Knuckles.
Yeah, I was so hoping for Knuckles to be, because as you guys know, Knuckles is my favorite Sonic character. So I was really hoping that they were going to do him justice, and I really do feel like they do.
Oh,
so,
they went up.
I will say this. I'll also say this. I will also say this. I compared Knuckles to Drax earlier. Like, am I the only one that also got Starfire vibes from him as well?
Yeah. I mean, not Starfire in particular, but I can definitely see why you bring that up. Why you bring up that comparison. I can see that too, actually.
Yeah. But yeah, it's like, yeah. So I definitely felt like, Knuckles was the standout, was pretty much the standout character. As much as I loved Tails, I thought they did really good with Tails too. But it's kind of like I said, now that we know that Shadow's coming and we know the third movie is going to be a major adaptation of Sonic Adventure 2, I really do anticipate that a lot of Tails' character that we do see in Adventure 1 and in Adventure 2 is going to happen in the next movie. So that's probably where we're going to start seeing, where Tails is more of the technical genius on par with Eggman, probably outfitting a plane to being a little battle robot or something I think it's safe to say we can expect to see something like that in the next movie.
Something I actually really hope to see, and they have a great setup for this as well, because Tom and Maddie's house got partially destroyed from Sonic and Knuckles fight. I'm super expecting and hoping that their house is now outfitted with all kinds of mechanical shit from Tails.
Yeah, I can see that.
Yeah, like Tails has his own workshop, out in the backyard or something.
Yeah, and they just create all these this advanced technology that in the house
Yeah,
It's like a little shed like in the backyard, but you open the door to this small shed and you see like all these like computers and gadgets and gizmos like just completely engulfing the inside of the shed.
Yeah, so it's like I that would be pretty cool. But yeah, like I also kind of expect like, I know we were talking a little bit about like Tails' characterization, about how he went from, the loner to being like Sonic's, best friend and stuff. And it's like, we absolutely do see that in the movie. But like the big character development that we see in the adventure games, which was, one of the biggest reasons why Tails ended up becoming my favorite character, is because up until that point, yeah, Tails has always just been the sidekick. He's Sonic's best friend, but he's always been the sidekick. Sonic Adventure 1 had to put him in a position where, okay, he's separated from Sonic, so now it's like, is he able to step out of Sonic's shadow, which he ultimately does? And Sonic Adventure 2 really pushes that even further. I mean, if you remember in the games, like when, for like 5 minutes, we believe that Eggman actually blew up Sonic up in the Ark, like there's, Sonic, like before they shot him out, he tells Tails to take care of everything for him. So he trusted Tails to finish what Sonic started. And what did Tails do? He went to go and do that. I mean, he was shocked, yeah, but he's like, okay, Sonic trusted me with this, I'm gonna fucking do it. And it's like, if that's the kind of character development, that's kind of what I'm expecting to see in the next movie.
Yeah.
Like, we'll be seeing that side of Tails.
So I guess overall getting into what we're hoping to see in the next movie then, regarding how they adapt Shadow's story. I'm already going to say this right now. We're probably gonna cry.
Well,
wait, hold on. Well, wait, in what regard? Like, are we talking tears of joy or tears of pain?
Let's think about this for a second.
Are they going to depict child murder? Are they going to go? Maria, are they going to actually go that far and actually depict, Maria's death and stuff? I mean, I would like to think in some way they will, because it's kind of the fucking backbone of Shadow's backstory.
Yeah,
but you're having a tragedy of Shadow's storytelling up to now, anyway.
Yeah.
Sonic Adventure 2, what's the word I'm looking for here? Milestone game for a lot of people, but it was campy and corny as hell. And I don't really think Sonic Adventure 2 actually did a good enough job, because, okay, to quickly recap on Shadow's story as a whole, ultimate life form, created created initially with the mindset of, create an immortal being who could potentially be used to cure diseases, which was Gerald's, motive, because he wanted to save his sickly granddaughter Maria. But Gun at the time, which I'm curious how they're going to write that one, considering that apparently in this movie Sonic Gun was just now established, so we'll see where that goes. Gun chooses to shut down the project and kill everybody who knew about it to kind of cover it up. Scummy move. Killed Maria in the process. She tried to save Shadow, so she sent him to Earth. With the last words of protect humanity, give him a chance, all that yada yada yada, all that jazz. Sonic Adventure 2, because of kind of the campiness and not really well done direction of the game, I felt like kind of made that story fall flat. And then there's Sonic X.
It's like. Yeah, go ahead.
Here's kind of the big problem. The concept and the idea behind Shadow's story is very powerful. It's just never had an actual good chance to be well told. And in the 2 times that it's been told, it's fallen flat, unfortunately. So this is their big chance to take a really good idea for a story, for a character, tell it on the big screen, and tell it good. That's what I'm hoping for. But then I realized, if they tell it good, we're probably gonna cry.
Okay.
That shit's gonna hurt.
So yeah. Tears of joy?
No. Tears of sadness. If they find a way,
joy and sadness. Joy that they told the story right. Sad
if they find a way to really help emphasize the relationship between Maria and Shadow, how close they were, how much, their bond before the ultimate tragedy from when she's gunned down. If they end up, telling that well, and then leads up to, to the reveal of her death, that shit's gonna hurt. It's going to hurt.
Seriously, yeah, that's more or less what I'm hoping for too. As someone, listen, I enjoy Shadow, obviously not because of what they've done with his character in later games, for obvious reasons, but because of just how much of an impact he made on me as a Sonic fan, because of how much I love Sonic Adventure 2. I'm sure I can speak for everyone here when we say, Shadow the Hedgehog at his prime was in Sonic Adventure 2.
Yeah,
and the fact that they are implementing and the fact that they're implementing Shadow of all characters after so much speculation online that he's gonna be the next big villain in Sonic the Hedgehog 3 when it eventually comes out. Yeah, I seriously hope and pray that if they are doing this, and they are doing this, that they do this right. And that's what's also really scary, because of the reception Shadow the Hedgehog has had over the course of recent games, after Sonic Adventure 2. And on top of that, this is a theatrical release and such. They have a limited amount of time to do so much. And considering how complex Shadow's story has been, I hope and pray that they find a way to implement that in a way not directly identical to that of the games, but just in a way where it's okay, you're telling this story what they were trying to do in the games, but do it right. Yeah. As a Sonic Adventure 2 fan, that's all I'm hoping for too.
I am setting myself up for a fall here, but I actually do have really high expectations on what they're going to do with Shadow. Because it's they've already proven to me from these first two movies, faults aside, they know how to write character relationships very well. Between Sonic and Tom, and as well as Maddie, Sonic and Tails, Sonic and Knuckles. They know how to write these relationships and tell them well. So it's so I have high expectations on what they're gonna be able to do for Shadow. Because yeah, it's you guys know, I actually don't even like Shadow, or at least what they've been doing with him. I love Shadow in Sonic Adventure 2, and I love him in the comics. But everything because he was just okay in Sonic Heroes. Everything after that, I feel like he was weak.
Shadow the Hedgehog video game, it was just a forced game just to cover up some massive plot holes that were left. No, not so much plot holes per se. They literally forced out a game that was Shadow the Hedgehog just for the sake of giving him a huge reason. Oh, hey, you want to know why he actually came back in Sonic Heroes? Well, hey, here's a video game for it. Here, have fun.
It's not even just that. It's just there's a lot of issues with Shadow the Hedgehog.
Yeah.
But it's
that's just one of the reasons, though. That's just one of the reasons.
Yeah, because I know I've stated this before on many times on streams whenever we talk about Sonic the Hedgehog and Shadow ever comes up. It's my favorite iteration of Shadow is the one from Adventure 2. Kind of sad that Shadow peaked at his introduction, but
that was the point, though, Danny.
Yeah.
He was supposed to die by the end of that game, but from this fan reception, they saw dollar signs and chose to bring him back. He was supposed to come back.
And Sega went about it in the most, the worst possible fucking way. And that's actually something that's something I kind of hope with the movie, because we know a third movie is coming. That was confirmed even before this movie came out. We know they confirmed the third movie, and they confirmed a Knuckles spin-off show on Paramount Plus.
That is also true. Yes.
Which, and I don't know. I mean, don't get me wrong. I'm curious to see what they're gonna do for a Knuckles spin-off show and stuff, because I don't. But again, we don't know what kind of show is it gonna be. Is it gonna be action? Is it gonna be comedy? We have no idea. All I can say though, if anything, is if there's any one wish that I have for the Knuckles spin-off show, Team Chaotix. That's all I ask. If there's a time to bring in Team Chaotix, it's in the Knuckles spin-off. But as
Find
far
the computer room.
yeah,
Oh,
but
God
as
damn it.
but as far as what to expect for the Sonic Adventure 2 adaptation for Sonic 3, like I don't anticipate everything to be adapted because it's like it's like it's pretty much been established in these first two movies. They take bits and pieces of other Sonic games to meld them all in. So I anticipate that's what's going to happen here. Like Adventure 2 will be the backbone, but we could probably expect to see some other little callbacks or something from other games, like maybe something like I said, like maybe with Tails. Maybe we can bring in some of the stuff going on from Adventure 1 or something. Like if Robotnik comes up coming back or something, then, find a way to, have like Robotnik go threaten the city with a bomb or something, and Tails has to be the one to disarm it or some shit, I don't know. But, I anticipate that. As far as other characters coming in, since we've already brought in Gun, why not bring in Rouge?
Yeah.
I think that I'm honestly kind of hoping for that because I know I am in the vast minority that actually likes Rouge because I know she's a character not a lot of people like or remotely care for. I think Rouge is fun. So it's like I certainly will not object to seeing Rouge showing up in the movie.
I still have to wonder about Amy.
That's my thing because I'm just like, okay, if it's going to be mostly Sonic Adventure 2, let's be real here. Amy was fucking useless in that game. She barely contributed to anything. There's only two things she did in Sonic Adventure 2 that were really notable. She broke Sonic out of prison, and she's the one that helped unlock Shadow's memory about Maria's promise about protecting the Earth.
You know what? Actually, Danny, I'm gonna kind of jump in real quick here since you brought that scene up. When Shadow kind of got when Shadow's talk with the recollection that ultimately woke him up, because we don't know exactly what direction they're going to take, whether it's with the Space Colony Org or something totally different. I really hope that there is a scene where, where someone has to convince Shadow to kind of help save the day, rectify his actions, shit like that. In Sonic Adventure 2, it was Amy that did that. In Sonic X, it was Chris. Now, my initial thought was maybe that could be another reason to bring Amy in, because otherwise I can't really see too much other reason to do so. I feel like, because I really do feel like if they try to bring Amy in, it's gonna be another Tails situation that we got with this movie. But then Sophia, so this is solely Sophia's idea. Sophia brought something to my attention, or brought an idea to me.
I've got an idea too.
And
honestly, I got an idea about the whole movie.
Honestly, though, I really actually hope. I don't think they're going to do it. I hope, though, that they take this direction. Sophia brought the idea to me that what if the person that talks to Shadow and attempts to try to help him, get him to turn sides is JoJo.
Oh my God, that's exactly what I was thinking.
Oh.
That's like
we're on the same boat then.
Yeah, like
Think of it like this: JoJo has to at least be, maybe probably by the time of the event of this third movie, she has to be around the same age as Maria.
Yeah, what if somehow, don't know how, what if she ends up getting kidnapped by Robotnik and ends up being taken up to the Ark as some kind of a hostage? It's like a deterrent for Gun. That's automatic.
For the audience who don't know who JoJo is, JoJo is Rachel's daughter. So Tom and Maddie's niece. Real quickly, for those who don't know who that is. But because now we know by Sonic 2. Rachel and Randall made up, and they probably are going to be married by the events of the movie. And Randall, whether or not he's still a Gun agent, we don't know, but he has involvement with Gun.
Yeah, here's my idea. What if, and again, this is assuming that, we take Amy out of the picture entirely. So what if, because, we see, Robotnik and Shadow, that mostly follows, the game as is, Robotnik finds Shadow and, they start stealing Chaos Emeralds because we know the Chaos Emeralds are out there. We know they're coming back. So now begins the Chaos Emerald MacGuffin hunt in every fucking game. So that follows suit. Somehow JoJo gets kidnapped and Robotnik is like, okay, we'll use this as a deterrent, being like, okay, gun, nobody come attack me or anything. Otherwise, I'm gonna hurt this little girl. And, we could do the whole thing where Gunn ends up arresting Sonic, all that other stuff. So what if instead of Amy busting Sonic out of prison, what if it was Tom, or better yet, what if it was Rachel? Like, what if Rachel was the one with her connections or something now with Randall? She busts Sonic out and she's like, look, I really don't care about you, but you're the only one that, you fought Robotnik twice. You're the only one that can handle this, so I want you to go out there and find my little girl.
Yeah. And here's the other thing, too, that I think will make it so thematically perfect.
Yeah.
Sonic and Shadow were always meant to be these parallels. Like, they're opposites, but they're also so much alike. And I remember JoJo was one of the first characters that showed true sympathy to Sonic and gifted him his shoes. So who's to say that she can't have a similar scene with Shadow?
Yeah, I think that would be I think it would be cool if you did something like, rather than going oh my god, Shadow is Sonic, because they're both hedgehogs and they look alike, even though they really don't look anything alike.
Even though they really don't.
They make fun of that. Make fun of that.
They could, but what if, what if it was JoJo sees Shadow and she's like, oh, you're another hedgehog, do you know Sonic? And it's maybe while on the arc or something, it's she ends up forming this small little bond with Shadow or something. So he's almost it's she's another Maria another Maria for him. And ultimately you get to the point where Shadow's we got the emeralds. Our plan is almost complete. Those humans will pay. And that's when JoJo steps in and makes that same argument that Amy does. And boom, there you go. And now Shadow goes saying, okay, not only do I gotta, keep my promise to Maria, but I actually care about this little girl too. I gotta make sure she has a home to go back to.
We are setting ourselves up for a fall, because they're probably not going to do this.
I know they're not. I hope they do, but I mean, realistically, are they going to go down that route? No, but
it makes so much sense though. You already have an established character. Use her.
Really?
Jeff Fowler, take some notes.
And it's and this is where, again, we don't know if they're going to make any more Sonic movies after 3. If the third movie does well enough, they very well could. And if they do, well, I guess the question now becomes, is Shadow going to stay dead, or are they going to bring Shadow back? If they decide, I personally would prefer Shadow to stay dead, for a sacrifice to actually mean something.
Yeah, but, very much so, yeah.
But if they decide for a mid-credits scene or something to show that, oh, Shadow really is alive, please don't make him, don't have him lose his memory.
For the love of God, don't make him go through that shit again. All right, we know what happened the last time that happened.
Yeah, because that was so fucking pointless. That whole amnesia. You wasted years on this whole amnesia thing, and then Shadow the Hedgehog comes along and it's just no. So it's it wastes our fucking time. So it's please don't go down that route. Okay, again, you can tell I put way too much thought into this. Mid-credit sequence, so we see that it's okay, JoJo goes back to Rachel, and, they're all happy, and they're glad to see that she's safe. And then we see, maybe Olive Garden Man, who is either A, going to be the soldier that shot Maria in the first place, or B, he's gonna be kind of like what the commander was in Shadow. Maybe he was.
That's what I was thinking too, actually. Yeah, I was thinking the heterochromic commander. Because here's the thing: after Sophia and I saw the movie, we talked about that. What was that guy's name? Olive Garden Man. His name, by the way, I have it right here, actually. Commander Walters is his name.
Walters.
Fuck it. Your name is Olive Garden, okay?
Well, that's the thing, though. we went. So Sophia and I went back to we tried looking up the commander's name or the major's name, whatever he is in Shadow the Hedgehog. He doesn't have one.
No, he's just the commander.
Yeah.
So they can very easily take Olive Garden man and put him into that role.
Yeah, like, if there is anything to take from Shadow the Hedgehog, at the very least, you can maybe get away with that.
Yeah.
For the love of God, keep Black Doom out of this fucking movie franchise, please.
Yeah, they retcon Black Arms for a fucking reason. Keep that shit out of the Sonic Cinematic Universe.
Yeah, but going back to what I was saying, so what if, we see JoJo, she's been returned to Rachel and Randall, and, okay, nice, happy family. Olive Garden man, asks, JoJo, can you come here? I want to show you something. And he takes JoJo into a room, and there we see, in a tube, we see Shadow. And, she's probably a little worried at first because, it looks like, oh, is he actually dead? We see Shadow slowly open his eyes, and, JoJo's, really happy to see him. And then maybe we see in the tube, Shadow, just looks at her, and then we see, a little smile come across his face, maybe a little weak wave, hello, or something. So it's
puts his hand on the glass, and she puts her hand on the glass, cause that could actually be a really clever, if they don't choose to kill off Shadow, that can be a very easy way to end it. Cause I can't imagine that Tom and Maddie are gonna want to keep taking in all these random creatures into their house. Let Shadow live with Rachel.
Yeah, let Rachel and Randall take care of Shadow.
Exactly. There you go.
And you know what? Let's make, since Rouge is a gun agent, maybe she can end up being Randall's partner or something. So, okay, we've got Shadow and Rouge with them. We just got to find a way to get Omega in there. And now they get Team Dark.
Hell yes. Oh my God, that would be amazing.
Yeah, if Tom and Maddie can keep Team Sonic, Rachel and Randall can have Team Dark.
And
I will also say...
I know, that's where it's again, I don't count on any of this shit happening. This is just what happens when my brain just goes, I was thinking of all this shit while I'm at work. So it's literally, after I saw this movie and I'm okay, what the hell, how the hell would they handle Shadow? And it's all these ideas just pop into my head while I'm working. So it's this is what happens when you leave me to my own devices.
Well, goddamn, you're certainly doing a much better job at that than me. My God, seriously, this movie hasn't even come out yet. Already, I am already for this idea. All these ideas you're just throwing out there. Seriously, I consider myself intrigued.
Yeah, I don't anticipate it happening, but I would love to see it happen. But I know it's not going to.
I will say
it set itself up for it so well. God damn it, do it.
Yeah, it's from one thing I have noticed when it came to how they implement certain stuff, especially in Sonic the Hedgehog 2. Obviously, they use a lot of, references to the games and such, but they don't necessarily, make it, a direct reference to what was shown in the games, pretty much. They take the sources of material and such, and they implement them in a way where it's it not only fits the name Sonic the Hedgehog, but it also make it seem like its own entity for just exclusively for the Sonic Cinematic Universe. Therefore, further showing that, okay, this isn't obviously this is not a direct video game adaptation that they're doing. It's its own thing. Again, this is the Sonic Cinematic Universe that they're going with here. And, I mean, I did say I was really scared on how they're going to handle Shadow the Hedgehog in the Sonic Cinematic Universe, given the reception Shadow has had, after the events of Sonic Adventure 2. But considering how they've been handling a lot of other, references from, the games and such, and implementing them to make it its own deal for the Sonic movies on top of actually fitting the Sonic lore in a way, I'm scared, but I have confidence at the same time that it's okay, I'm sure they will find a way to implement Shadow the Hedgehog in a way where it is very similar to what they initially intended on doing with Shadow the Hedgehog as the character. But, oh man, it's just one of those things where it's like, yeah, at the same time, it's a little bit intimidating to think about.
Yeah, like, I mean, the expectations have been set high just because you've introduced Shadow, because Shadow, even though we don't care for him, he's still a major fan favorite character. So it's like, yeah, that alone, you've already set the expectations, and yeah, I mean, let alone just the fact that, yeah, this is gonna be heavily Sonic Adventure 2, so it's like, yeah, do not fuck this up. You've been doing really good. You've been doing really good so far. Please pull through in the clutch and make this really damn good. Like, make this the best one out of the 3.
Oh, trust me. Freaking, I have my issues with Shadow the Hedgehog as a character because of Sonic Heroes and Onwards and shit. But oh no. I have high expectations because thanks to Sonic Adventure 2, and solely because of Sonic Adventure 2, I would technically consider myself a Shadow fan. So yeah, I too have high expectations just for the fact it's Shadow they unveiled alone.
I also will say this too, because it's like, since this movie is like heavily, probably going to be heavily SA2 based, because I know one common criticism I do see from some people, and like, you can definitely boil it down to a personal preference and whatnot, but it's like, I know some people wish that they'd maybe like have their own renditions of like actual video game music from the Sonic games. Now, and it's like, yeah, again, I can totally see that as a personal preference, but it's like, for this, it's like heavily SA2 based. We're bringing in Shadow the Hedgehog. Live and learn. When's it gonna play?
Yeah, it's like, of all the Sonic songs, give us Live and Learn. At the very least, give us that one.
And it's like, whether it's like the original Crush 40 rendition of Live and Learn, or like just a very well done remake of the song by a different band or something. It's like, yeah, there's like, regardless of how they handle it, it's like, you can't have something that is based heavily on Sonic Adventure 2 and not bring in Live and Learn. You just can't do that.
Yeah. But we'll hope for a Sonic 3 movie, depending whether or not they crush Ken Penders' fucking lawsuit.
Right.
we went over that.
Yeah.
Good.
That said, so there's one thing I'm curious about. I know they're more than likely not going to bring in every single element of a Sonic Adventure 2. They probably will kind of make it their own story.
Yeah.
I have to wonder though, if they brought it in, if they brought it in, what the fuck would the Bio Lizard look like?
I really can't.
Imagining that thing in solid CGI for the first time. Holy shit!
I actually hope they just say fuck it and just don't even bother with the Bio Lizard at that point, because it's like, you can still do the whole Gerald Robotnik going crazy and being like, I'm going to use the Ark to destroy the Earth as revenge and stuff. I mean, you can still do that, but it's like, at that point, it's like, just program the Ark to crash. Like, don't have the Bio Lizard like, I'm going to absorb into it or something and keep it going, even though you took the emeralds or something. It's like, find some other way to do it, because it's like, I'm not a fan of the whole Bio Lizard plot line.
I'm not either, but I almost still want it just to see what it looks like.
Yeah, I'm pretty much on BJ on this one.
If you absolutely feel like you have to bring in the Bio Lizard, can we at least foreshadow it a little bit better than in the game, where it's like, oh, there's a newspaper article, like a blink and you'll miss it in the game, and oh, see, Bio Lizard is there, and it's like, it literally contributed fucking nothing. So it's like, I would think, like, maybe they uncover, like, you get details throughout the movie of Project Shadow, and it's like, there's hints of, like, they start talking about the Bio Lizard from the beginning, and it's like, yeah, well, that was a failure, so then we have this other version, and that's what Shadow is. Like, if they actually went into, like, maybe that brief little synopsis or something, they'd be like, okay, that's probably a little bit better than Rouge flying up, flashing an article in front of Shadow, going, then what? If you're not the ultimate life form, what am I looking at? It's like, what the fuck?
Yeah, I'm pretty much on BJ on this one. It's like it's like the possible inclusion of the bio lizard of all things in the world. It would be a hit or a miss for me. I could see them not utilizing it and nothing would be lost. But just trying to see that fucking thing in CGI for the first time after everything, that would actually be really sick.
All right, well, here's my next question now, because we can safely assume that we're going to see Gerald and Maria, right?
I mean, I would imagine so, yeah.
Actors, who's playing as them?
I actually kind of want Jim Carrey to play Gerald and Robotnik.
Austin Powers bullshit, Danny, with Michael Myers, like.
Why not? Like, take advantage of it. It's like Jim Carrey clearly loves being in these movies. Yo, put him more in it. Have him be more characters.
What?
All right. By all means.
Okay, well, who's Maria? Like, they have to get someone young, because, as much as this may surprise people, Maria, I think, was 12 at the time when she was killed.
Yeah, so it's like, we need,
So, it might be pretty hard to figure out an actor, because, children actors really aren't, like, in much of the spotlight, since they don't really last there that long before they become adult actors.
Right, so it's like, I don't know. I really don't know. And that's if they decide, because not for nothing, there is a distinctive possibility that Maria could be in this movie, but not be a child. She could be instead of being 12, she could end up being 16 or something in the movie.
Yeah.
Like, she could be a little bit older just to get, broaden the acting pool.
I suppose. At the same time, too, it's like, because again, we're like crossing our fingers for the JoJo angle, and if they do, they need to get somebody who's around the same age as JoJo then for thematic purposes.
Yeah. Yeah, so I honestly don't know. They'll probably, I don't know. It's like, I guess they'll end up, they'll find some kid.
You take since it's Paramount, maybe they could take the girl who's currently the head star of the new Fairly Odd Parents show. She's blonde. She's blonde.
Put her in something good.
Yeah, it's like, I have no idea. I'm staying. I've got Paramount Plus. I'm staying as far the fuck away from that Fairly Odd Parents.
I haven't even. I haven't seen it, and I don't think I need to. I've seen enough clips to not know that I don't need to see it.
Yeah,
I have seen Just Stop's video on it, and that's all I need to see.
Yeah, no. I'm good. I'm good with the Halo series. Thank you very much.
All right, well, back to things that we actually care about.
Yeah.
Well, actually, at this point, what else is there to talk about?
I don't know about you guys, but I think we pretty much covered everything that we needed to cover, especially like what we expect to see, what high expectations we will have for the third sequel.
Yeah. That said, I am terrified because if Rouge the Bat is in fact in this movie, I am terrified of the internet's reaction to whenever they show her.
They will
yeah, that's a freaking given. Oh yeah, you know, if they can if they can make Sonic, Tails, and Knuckles, and hell, even Shadow look good for that matter, it's like, they're gonna do such a killer job with making Rouge the Bat into an amazing looking CGI character for the big screen, and everybody is gonna lose their shit. That's a given.
People are gonna lose their shit regardless. It's like, because it's gonna be one of two things, and it's gonna solely be depending, I think, on what outfit they give her. If they go with her classic outfit, the internet is gonna be like, oh my god, bat titties, yes, we're gonna see bat titties in this movie. But if they decide to either give her a whole new outfit, or maybe give her something more along the lines of Sonic Heroes, where she's more wearing armor than anything, so then you're gonna get the people that are gonna be like, but the bat titties. So you're getting one reaction or the other. That's what's gonna happen.
It's like, guys, you're talking about you're literally complaining about this in the movie theater for a kid, and it's a kids movie.
It's like, Mom, why is the creepy man next to me crying about bat titties?
Yeah, seriously.
And again, I say this as a fan of Rouge, and it's like Sonic Adventure 2 I thought was a great introduction for her, because it's like, I know,
Absolutely.
because I know everybody goes on about the bat titties and stuff, and it's like, oh, she's just about the sex appeal and shit, and I mean, to be fair, later Sonic games kind of give credence to that argument. I mean, like, why are you programming your robots to, like, get hearts in their eyes when Rouge flirts with them? Like, what the fuck is wrong with you?
Man, what's with this libido function?
Yeah, Eggman, what the fuck? So it's like, but what I really loved about Rouge, especially in Adventure 2, is like, okay, yeah, she's a conventionally attractive character, but that's not all she was. She wasn't there just to be, oh, I'm the sexy spy or something. That's like, no, there was actually a lot more to her. It's like, because she was the spy, and she was uncovering all this documentation and shit, it definitely shows how manipulative she can be and like how cunning and resourceful. You see her with Knuckles, and it's like, their relationship, like, is definitely interesting to see, because she's just like, she's at first like, she fucking hates him because she's like, I want this giant fucking jewel for myself, but this guy won't let me have it. I hate you. And then, like, by the end...
Wait, actually, you bring that up, Danny. I cannot wait to see if there's actually, like, a dynamic or something where Rouge is trying to get the Master Emerald from Knuckles, and he has to do everything in his power to keep it from her.
Yeah, something. And it's like, so you get that, but then it's like, if you remember, by the end of the game, she pretty much gave up on going after the Master Emerald. She even openly said there's actually something more precious that I like, pretty much hinting at the possible romantic implications and shit between Rouge and Knuckles. But that's pretty much, like, I think the last time we even see that in the games.
Yeah, that never goes anywhere.
It never goes anywhere. And now it's like, that's an opportunity to call back to that. I mean, it's like, if you can call back to how Knuckles was in classic Sonic games and shit, then it's like, you know what? Why not hint at that whole Knuckles Rouge possible romance? Why not?
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, again, this is pretty much like the theatrical take on everything Sonic the Hedgehog. So again, going back to, like, this correlates to what I was saying earlier. Like, they can take something from Sonic and implement it in a different way, where not only will it fit Sonic, but also make it its own thing, like for the movie. So yeah, who's to say they couldn't exactly try to pull that kind of stunt off?
Right. So yeah, and it's, yeah, but it's like, but that was something I actually liked about Rouge, because, like, yeah, she was all about the jewels and shit. I mean, that is a big part of her character. She loves jewels. But it's like, yeah, at the end of the game, like, after everything that happened, she was willing to give up the biggest jewel of them all. So I was like, I thought that was cool. And yep, the game's kind of forgot about that.
Yeah.
So that's where it's just like, that's kind of how I would like to see Rouge. Like, I would like to see her, like, yeah, bring back some of, like, the cunning and the manipulation, and, bring some of that back in for a theatrical Rouge, and not have her just be there for furry bait.
Yeah, for her to be nothing but eye candy.
Yeah.
Which case, so I actually just remembered something, and I'm glad I did, because I actually alluded to this at the very start of this whole discussion.
Yeah.
Going back to the quill.
Oh yeah, the quill that, like, got dropped or something.
Yeah. So I actually had a thought, and I don't think they'd actually do this for the third movie. Maybe they could. I don't think they will, though. It could be an interesting parallel, based on the fact of the hedgehogs and all that such. But because I had an idea of what could possibly be done with that quill, even though it did kind of get dropped, so it probably won't happen. What if that quill was somehow used to create Metal Sonic?
I actually thought, like, I was actually hoping before the movie came out and we know that the next movie is going to be about Shadow. I was honestly kind of hoping that like for a third Sonic movie, it would actually be following Sonic CD. So it's like, yeah, like let's like the next batch of characters bring in Amy and Metal Sonic. So it's like now
That was my thought as well, because I feel like it does, because I feel like, assuming they do bring in Rouge, I feel like it would be really weird for them to introduce Rouge before Amy.
I know, it's like, I would
Because it's like, when you think of like the major Sonic players, of course you got Sonic and Eggman, those are the two big ones. Then you got Tails, Knuckles, Shadow, and Amy. I feel like those four characters after Sonic and Eggman are like the major players.
Yeah, so this is where it's like, I know we just went off on this whole fucking storyline that we thought up with JoJo and shit, which would be, you know, which, yeah, we were all like, we all really like that idea. But realistically, if they're gonna bring in Amy, then, like, I would like to at least hope they'll find ways to get her more involved in the story. Because, like we said, in Sonic Adventure 2, she was kind of worthless. She really contributed fucking nothing to the story.
She was kind of worthless in Sonic Adventure 1 as well, if we're honest here.
Right, so it's like, you know, if they were to bring in Amy, they'd really have to rework the story or something to, like, get her involved way more. You know, it's like, hell, they could call back to Sonic CD and maybe Amy is the one that gets kidnapped. Now,
sad though, I think actually in reality, as much as I like Amy as a character, I think what's sad is I actually can't think of too many games where she actually is important. Because even in Sonic CD, she was kind of just there.
Yeah, she was definitely like just like a damsel in distress for the most part.
The reasoning behind why she was there at all was because of her tarot card, whatever. She went to Little Planet because she fortuned that she'd have a fateful encounter with her hero, which is she did. She met Sonic there. Amy's whole existence, I think, is best described as abrupt. She kind of always just shows up.
Right. So it's
and
like...
I wouldn't be surprised if that ends up being the same deal here. Like, she's she's not actually a part of the story. She's kind of just there.
I would think, like, yeah, like, if you're going to bring her in or something, like, they could maybe call back to Sonic CD where, like, you know... all the stuff that we were talking about with JoJo, maybe that's where Amy could fit in. Like, somehow she gets kidnapped. Don't know why she'd be on Earth or whatever, but, you know, they'll probably have to find some way to figure that out or something. Like, yeah, maybe she does a fortune-telling tarot reading or something, and just like...
she uses a warp ring or whatever. But yeah, it's sad, though.
It
really is sad because... I almost don't want them to put in Amy for no reason. Like, they better give a really damn good reason aside from having her there just for the sake of having her there. I'd rather her just not be there.
Yeah, well, it's like, you know, that's like I was saying, like, if she was kidnapped and was the one taken to the Ark, then yeah, maybe she could be the one that's trying to connect with Shadow. Maybe she's secretly trying to do some sabotaging of her own or something. So it's like, you know, it's like, is she a damsel? Yeah, that's kind of the role that she's in, but let's, like, you know, do something like, oh, what was it? Wasn't there, like, a Super Mario game or something, like a Mario RPG game or something where, like, even though Peach was, like, you know, like, captured or something, she was doing shit on the side to try to help out Mario or something?
The Paper Mario games.
Yeah, it's like, you know, so it's like, okay, yeah, you know, given the state that she's in, she's like, okay, she may not be able to get out on her own, but what if she's trying to, like, get information, or what she's trying to maybe sabotage, or do something to try to help Sonic from the Ark or something. Like, give her a little bit more, give her more of an active role.
It seems like a waste to introduce a whole new character, even if she's established in the actual lore of Sonic or whatever. It just seems like a waste to introduce a whole new character just to have that kind of role. Give it to an already established character.
Oh, I mean, I agree completely. You know, again, like
we were talking about before, JoJo. Hell, I wouldn't mind if it was given like Rachel or Maddie. Like, give it to someone who's already established.
Yeah.
No reason to introduce a whole new character just for that.
Yeah. Yeah. So seriously. I mean, it's like, yeah, I agree, but it's like,
oh yeah.
Yeah, if they decide to bring in Amy, it's like you're gonna have to really seriously rethink Amy's character. or you're gonna have to seriously like rethink parts of the story to make her more active.
There's one thing I could think of regarding Amy and how they can even make that work. Like from a storytelling perspective, I feel like if they were to introduce Amy, she would probably strictly be comedy. That's one aspect I can think of. The other thing, it really depends on the theming of the actual movie and what they're going. Because I'd have to rewatch the first Sonic movie to kind of get a grasp of the theming for that movie. But the second Sonic movie, as we talked about, the theming of that movie is camaraderie. So I have to wonder, maybe a direction that they can go with for the third movie is, because I feel like each movie is setting up like more aspects of Sonic growing up, maturing, things like that. So like, so I guess you could say the first movie was about family. Second movie is camaraderie. Third movie maybe could be about love. I don't know, fucking like, because like I guess like the kind of thing like because like that could relate back to I guess Shadow and Maria. Because even if the two of them don't have like a romantic like connection, they still cared about each other, and that itself is a form of love. So I can see that being a way to introduce Amy, like some aspect for Sonic's life, love, even if he himself doesn't actually care about her. Like, regardless of. Well, actually, I guess that's actually like a good question though, because this version of Sonic is, he's very much different. Like he's the same, but also different compared to the Sonic that we're used to. How would Sonic react to this female hedgehog? Because Sonic's probably never actually met another hedgehog before in his life. So how would this version of Sonic react to seeing suddenly a girl of your species show up in front of you?
Considering how they're trying to portray Sonic as being, a little bit more like a kid, I would imagine he'd probably have like the similar reaction to how like, a lot of little boys his age, like, ew, girls, cooties and shit. Like, yeah, no, it's like, I don't mind hanging out with you, but no, now you're getting weird, stay away. Like I could see like that as maybe like the first impression. And then eventually, like, I could see, like, maybe Sonic warming up to Amy, but still being like, yeah, I just see her as a friend and that's it.
I honestly, if Amy is introduced, I really hope they stay away from the romance angle. It honestly, at this point, it'd feel weird if there was ever actually a romance angle between Sonic and Amy.
Right.
Like, I know Sonic Boom kind of sprinkled into that territory, but not really. Like they never actually passed that line. Because I know in Sonic Boom, they treated Amy, because like Amy was not really an obsessive fangirl in Sonic Boom. Instead, she had like a secret crush on him, but she got like all bashful and denial whenever like the idea of it hinting was being brought up. So they treated it where it's like no one actually knew that Amy had a crush on Sonic, as opposed to the games where it's everyone knows. Because she's not subtle about it at all. But like,
it's like, Sonic Heroes. I'm gonna beat the shit out of Sonic and drag him to a wedding.
Amy, what are you doing here?
If they do introduce Amy again, I hope they don't. I hope there isn't like any romance aspect to that. Because I feel like at this point that'd feel weird. Like it would just be weird at this point.
Yeah, it would be weird and very unnecessary if they were to implement that in the movies, especially given what has already been established for these two Sonic movies.
Right.
That would just be forced.
Yeah, and not even just that. Again, it boils back to how they've been portraying Sonic, like, because, they've been trying to portray Sonic more as like, like probably more like, what would you say, maybe like a prepubescent at most or something? Like, whereas like, that's like, if you're, again, like, this is what, I don't necessarily mind if they want to go back to the romantic implications with Knuckles and Rouge, because even canonically, they're some of the older characters, and Knuckles definitely comes off more as, he is the oldest one out of the group, so it's like, Tails is the youngest, then Sonic, and then Knuckles. Like, Knuckles to me, even in the movie, definitely comes off like, he's a freaking teenager. So it's like, there's some of the older characters. So it's like, if you're gonna throw in if you're gonna throw romance amongst the Sonic characters, do it with the older characters. Don't do it with the youngins.
Yeah.
Oh boy. Yeah, I think in which case, I think it's clear that like we have high expectations for this next movie, but there's clearly some things that we're worried about too. Like some
to
various
sum it all up,
circumstances, i.e., Amy. Like, I just hope they don't even include Amy. Like, if they want to put Amy in, like, save her for like a different movie. If they plan on going past 3, save her for after that. Like, I know that might be weird for some people, especially if Rouge is introduced in this next movie. I personally don't care if they were to introduce Rouge before Amy, but regardless, like, don't force in characters that don't need to be there.
Right. Yeah, seriously. Like, I would not put it, considering how they handled this with the Sonic 2 movie, you know, where it's like, oh, they one day they revealed one character at the end of the first movie, and now it's like, oh, by the by, we're adding in another character, and it worked out great. I'm fairly certain, I think it's safe to say they would end up doing the exact same thing with this third movie. Yeah, we all know Shadow the Hedgehog is going to be like the main villain, and it's like, okay, they've got to it's more than likely they're going to implement another character in there as well. But I mean, it's like, whatever character that may be is like, yeah, I agree with BJ 100% on this one. Don't add another character in there that doesn't really need to be there. Don't force characters in there. And if they are or whatever, it's like, it's a hit or a miss for Amy. I can see Rouge being a really good contender for that, but again, not completely necessary, honestly.
Because it's like, I don't mind them adding 3 characters, because like, yeah, they added, you know, the Sonic, the first Sonic movie only established Sonic and Eggman. Sonic 2 introduced 2 new characters, Sonic, Tails and Knuckles.
Yeah.
I don't mind the notion of this third movie adding 3 characters, because that'd be funny. But again, make sure that each of those characters have a purpose. Like, don't just add them just to add them.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, if they're going on about like a Sonic cinematic universe and shit, it's like you don't see like as far as I'm aware, you don't see like Marvel like forcing all these characters in the Marvel cinematic universe for the sake of being there and with no purpose or whatever. You know, it's like, yeah, it doesn't work like that. Anyway, I'm sorry, you were saying, BJ?
Bad thing too is that, like, yeah, like I feel like if they were to add, if they had to add 3, it would have to be Shadow obviously, and then probably Rouge and Amy. Because if it weren't Amy, like, there's really no other good contender. Because it's like, again, Amy is like a major player in the Sonic universe. When you think of like the secondary characters, like after Tails, Knuckles, Shadow, and Amy. When you think of like the secondary characters after that, I think of Rouge, Cream, Blaze, Silver, the Chaotix. That's kind of it, actually. I feel like characters after that we're kind of getting into more niche territory after that, because then you get into like Big and who else is there? My point is like Amy. Okay, yeah, Omega, yeah. Actually,
I said Gamma, but yeah, no, Omega's also another contender. Yes.
I don't know. Actually, would you put Omega like in the same league as like Rouge and Silver and Blaze, or what is he a bit more niche? Would you put him like alongside Big?
I probably would, if only to complete Team Dark. Because not for nothing, because Omega has shown up in multiple games, and it's usually to complete Team Dark.
Yeah. Oh, of course. Wait a minute. Duh. Metal Sonic. I put Metal Sonic alongside Silver and Blaze and all them.
Right.
Actually, Metal Sonic's weird. He's kind of in this weird middle spot between like, the major players and the secondaries. Because I feel like Metal Sonic has enough importance, but he's also not really that common of an occurrence, so.
Yeah, pretty much.
But I think that's actually good, though, for Metal Sonic. I feel like if you keep bringing a character back over and over again, they kind of lose a bit of their flair. So.
Yeah.
I'm getting off topic. My initial point is, Like if they had to bring in another character aside from Shadow and Rouge, it would have to be Amy, and that's the sad thing here.
Yeah. Considering that it's more than likely, Sonic the Hedgehog 3 is gonna reference like highly of Sonic Adventure 2 or whatever. Yeah, if by an off chance they do in fact add in 3 characters for Sonic 3, including Shadow the Hedgehog, yeah, I would agree. I would see Rouge and Amy being top contenders because, well, you add in Amy and Rouge, you basically have the entire main SA2 cast, like, all in the same movie, all right? So it's like, that pretty much speaks for itself.
Right.
All right, but in any which case, yeah, I mean, unless if there's any other quick things you want to add, I think that pretty much covers everything that we want to talk about with Sonic the Hedgehog 2 as a whole, and what our high expectations are for the sequel that will come out, which will probably be
that we're
like
setting
another 2
ourselves
years
up
from now.
for, probably.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, I got no more guts to spill.
Yep, same here.
Yeah. All right. Very good. All right. Well, in that case, thank you all so much for watching and or listening to our movie discussion about Sonic the Hedgehog 2. And, well, at this point, it's more than likely the next time we'll be doing another one of these will be when Sonic the Hedgehog 3 eventually comes out. So
Probably like 2 or 3 years.
Yeah,
Give or take.
Yeah, give or take. More, yeah, I can definitely see that happening. Which is fine. It's no big deal. Whatever. It's all good.
Yeah, because also keep in mind, keep in mind, it's not just a movie now. Now there's a show coming.
Yep. Like what you brought up earlier. Yep, the side series with Knuckles on Paramount Plus.
Will we be getting that before or after the 3rd movie comes out?
I have no idea.
I could have sworn they would. Oh man, like
I know they announced it, but I don't think they've.
Oh what?
Yeah, I don't think they've announced like a date or anything for the show. I just know that they have announced it, so we know it's coming.
Yeah, it's like shoot, yeah. Now I'm starting to question myself. I could have sworn that they did, in fact, they didn't give out like an exact date or anything. But I could have sworn they did something about like, oh yeah, there's gotta be a series or whatever, but it's gonna be like what, like several months like after the 2nd movie comes out or something like that.
Yeah, I don't think so. I think it's if anything, it might be in development, but.
Well, yeah. It'll definitely be in development. Oh,
yeah.
Wait. Oh, wait. Okay, you know what? No. I take back what I said. I just remembered. Okay, so no. I was right. They did not specifically say, like, what month or whatever, like, they were going to make this a thing on Paramount Plus, but they did have a release year. It will be in 2023. So, if Sonic the Hedgehog 3 will end up being, like, on the big screen, like within at least 2 years from now, more than likely this show with Knuckles the Echidna, that will come out before the 3rd movie comes out.
Okay. Yeah, which is fine.
Yeah. Oh yeah. I have no problem with that. I mean, it's like, shoot, it's something to hold us over for a little while longer until Sonic the Hedgehog 3 comes out. Alright, but in anyways case, again, thank you all so much for watching and or listening to our discussion of Sonic the Hedgehog 2. Hope you enjoyed our speculations, our overall thoughts, and our geeking out of like the many great moments that transpired during this film. And yeah, again, we will see you when Sonic the Hedgehog 3 comes out. So thank you all so much for watching. And we will see you guys in the next video. Have a great night, everybody.
Good night.
Bye.